stand by.
Dark masks, gather round your TV set, put on your masks, and watch. All witches, all skeletons, all jack-o'-lanterns.
The third
gather
commercial,
round
it's
and
still on,
watch.
please.
Watch
Take off the
magic
third channel, it's still running. Stop it, please, for God's sake, please stop it. There's no more time. You've got to, please, stop it now, turn it off. Turn it off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
So, here we are on the Halloween. I bet nobody can even hear what the fuck I'm saying.
What week is it?
This is Halloween week.
Which week?
Which week? Slasher week. Ooh. Who are you?
Sebulba. Feel like I'm pod racing right now.
The hit character.
Yeah, the
Halloween
character that's
7.
taking the nation by storm.
Halloween 7. So, the Curse of Sebulba Myers. Dude, I can't see a damn thing. So how long are we going to keep this up for, I guess?
Hopefully the whole show.
Yeah! Well, I'm going to have to put my fucking glasses on. Actually, Michael Myers.
Michael Myers is a nerd.
Michael Myers was Dr. Loomis the whole time.
Enough's enough.
Enough's enough. Yeah, mine's like super tight too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Halloween was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. Fuck that shit. First cuss word of the podcast, and I almost said another one. Matt, do you think that I should stop cussing on these podcasts?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
We should have a swear jar and make it count.
Well, then I'm screwed. I'll be paying you for the excitement. So we have our pumpkin in the background.
Looks pretty nice.
Carved and ready to go. We've got our Bengals hat ready for tomorrow's game.
Yep.
And, yeah. So, yeah, this is the creme de la creme, the final nail in the proverbial coffin for this October.
The ultimate
week.
edition.
Yeah. Of, I guess, what do we call this? October week? Or wait, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, wait.
Month week.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're doing Halloween. And we're actually covering, we're covering all of Halloween, essentially, tonight. We're going to be talking about in one way or the other. But the films that we decided to specifically watch were Halloween 3 and
Season
Halloween...
of the Witch.
Yeah, Season of the Witch.
Why didn't we do that for Witch Week?
Because there's like really... Well, I guess there is. We'll talk about it when we get to it. But there's... and then Halloween Kills, the newest film that's
Brand
in
new.
theaters right now and on the Peacock Network, which I had to stop myself from laughing. That's an actual thing. And that's for some reason the place that Carpenter and all these other people picked. I'm sure he didn't pick, but still, it's like to put the podcast, or not the podcast, the movie, which is the follow-up to the 2018 Halloween movie of the fucking same name as the first movie.
It's Halloween 3 too.
Yeah. Halloween Kills. And we're going to talk about Halloween in a little bit, like Halloween 2018 as well. Just in a little retrospective, because I actually had never seen it, and I watched that, because I went and got it on DVD and then watched Halloween Kills. So, let's see what we got going on here first. So, do you want to do the... we have a segment here. We have Nerd News and Recommendation Nation, of course. But we have another...
The top 5 Halloween?
Yeah, we have a top 5 Halloween candy, and then we also have something else. You can probably see it right here. It's actually in frame. I fucked up. So yeah, let's skip over Nerd News and the other one, and we'll come back to them. And
so we each made a top 5 Halloween candies list.
This was all Matt. Matt stepped up to the plate and was like, you texted me and you were like, I made this list for top 5 Halloween candies. And
yeah, it was a lot of work. I
spent
spent a lot of hours in the lab.
It was I don't know. I guess you brought a segment. So it's good stuff. So I'd like to think all these segments are ours, so.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go ahead, and do you want to do like, well, you go 5, and then I'll
Yeah.
do my 5th one, and we'll go back and forth? Okay, I'll let you go ahead as usual first.
All right, so my number 5 is Tootsie Roll Pops.
Cool.
I've always been a big fan.
Nice.
And how many licks do you think it takes to get to the center?
The world may never know.
1,
The guy didn't even try. He's like, fuck it, 3.
Yeah.
And then he breaks his teeth. He's like, I'm like, dude, nobody after 3 licks could fucking
If you
do
ever
that.
been into that, you'd be like, dentist, please.
Unless you were like Jaws.
Yeah.
Well, both the shark and the
Yeah,
villain.
the henchman.
I guess the shark is still a villain to man. My number 5 is Whoppers malted milk balls. I've always been a fan of them.
All right.
Not necessarily, I guess, Whoppers, but like any sort of malted milk ball.
Yeah, I'm
we
a
have-
fan as well.
yeah.
That's a good choice.
We've
Solid
also
choice.
got, as people can hear, a fucking drag race happening around us. I don't know why this is. This never happens, so I have to apologize.
It's the
There's something I can't control.
spookiest drag race.
Bang in the back of my Dracula.
Like there's Dragulas to the left and Dragulas to the right.
Right in the middle with feet. Okay, so what's your number 4?
Number 4 is dots.
Dots?
Dots.
Like Dippin' Dots? Or?
No, dots.
I'm going to have to look this up.
They're kind of like big gumdrops.
Okay,
and
I guess I'll put a picture. Well, I'm sure everybody else knows what dots are except for
I
me.
think they're kind of a deep cut.
Cool,
and
I just put dots in and literally nothing came up.
I think a lot of people don't like them. They're also like real.
Oh, yeah, they're kind of just
They
like...
like screw up your teeth, and they're like real gummy. And
yeah.
but I've always been a fan. I would always go to the dots first on Halloween.
Offer 5 exotic fruit flavors.
It's exotic.
Like tilapia. My number 4 is in honor of Dr. Daniel Jackson himself from Stargate, Fifth Avenue bars.
Nice.
I had one
I was
again
gonna pick that.
recently because when we went to the Kenny and Spenny trip, and I was like, dude, this is fucking it's better than Butterfinger, especially now because Butterfinger got bought by another company and their recipe sucks. So like
I might agree.
it might not have been better than them back in the day, but now it's better for sure.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't break your fucking teeth like Butterfinger sometimes would.
It's
like-
super sweet though.
Yeah.
But
it's
yeah,
candy.
I'm a big fan. Fifth Avenue. It's underrated and reminds me of Stargate every time.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, Smarties.
My dad, I think, really likes Smarties.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like the little chalk, like
Yeah.
chalky, nasty.
Yeah.
But I like them, and especially because like they're like sweet tarts, but better.
Yeah, my dad likes sweet tarts too, but he only likes certain flavors, which is funny. We'll have a bowl of like ones that he doesn't like that everyone
Nice.
else eats.
I'm not a fan of like.
He's
tart.
a diva.
Yeah. What a candy diva.
Yeah, he's like
Candy snob.
Liza Minnelli style. He's like only green M&Ms.
But I remember in Mrs. Slusser's class when we would do the spelling test every week, and like if you did it good, you'd like get a piece of candy.
I did a good.
If you did it good, I'm like, I did it good. Can I have a piece of candy?
Klaus Kinski's like, I did a good.
And I would always get Smarties. So
Yeah.
that's what I was
As long as you
thinking.
don't take a beef.
You take a beat.
So number 3, I like Heath bars.
Yeah, Heath is.
I
delicious.
like Heath bars.
I like Heath.
We're
bars
just gonna
pan out.
slowly degenerate. Our brains are gonna turn to.
I thought we'd have more disagreements so far.
No, I mean
I think all your choices are really solid.
Yeah.
All right.
Who knows?
We're not there.
Yeah,
yet.
we're not done yet.
Number 2 for me is gum.
Yeah.
Like any kind of Halloween gum that you get, like I love that. Like the double
Yeah.
bubble and like just.
Yeah, you got like the Bazooka Joe on that trip. That was like harder than shit though. Like Bubble Yum is usually softer. I like Fruit Stripe, but I think as we were talking, it's like
Dude,
it loses its flavor in like
literally like 10
yeah.
seconds.
It's like you take one bite and the flavor is gone. But it's like the most intense flavor you've ever had for like a candy, like fruit flavored.
Yeah.
Really good, but yeah. But gum, yeah, it's always good. Remember, tell the people. I'm like, explain to the folks about your Turkish gum.
You hear
that
about
used
this?
To
You hear
have.
about this?
You hear about this?
Yeah, it was a Turkish brand, and it was just like pretty much pure gum. Like there was no flavor to
no
it,
additives.
and it would never like disintegrate. So you could
Yeah.
chew it literally for days, which I used to do,
Yeah.
which is gross and stupid. But
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to chew gum all that time, you might as well reuse a bunch of other stuff too, right? Which we won't get into. So my number 2 is, I'm actually a fan of like the Cadbury chocolate caramels.
Oh.
Not the cream eggs though.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of
Yeah,
those.
I don't like those either.
I thought we were going to have our first
No.
What's the Cadbury caramel?
They introduced those a couple years ago.
I've never had that.
Where instead of inside, instead of like inside the Cadbury like egg, there's like cream. There's like caramel instead, or caramel, however you would say it, I guess. But it's really
good.
Yeah, I mean it's some caramel or caramel tastes disgusting. Like I'm not a huge fan of certain kinds, like baking kinds are kind of nasty, or really soft ones. But generally, like they're pretty good.
Yeah, cool. I got to try those.
Yeah,
sounds delish.
I'm like number 1, cream eggs. You're like, no.
All right, we're down to number 1.
Yep.
So mine is, and this is kind of, I guess, boring, but anything Reese's. Like,
are you
Reese's
serious?
Pieces, yeah.
My number 1 is
nice,
Reese's.
dude. Well,
yeah.
I guess that's why we're the buddy shop.
Yeah, I actually didn't put down either one either because there's a place I feel like for both the cups and the seasonal ones that like are shaped like things and like the pieces.
Yeah, it's the best.
So
the chocolate peanut butter combo.
The pieces are more like peanut butter centered. Like they're legit just M&Ms with peanut butter inside. But like
still good.
There's a different ratio to the chocolate on the regular ones. But
nice.
Yeah.
Well.
Now we're gonna have to suffer on the segment I thought of, which is I actually went online and tried to find the worst candies that people talk about. Funnily enough, there was actually like the Tootsie Pops you were talking about was on someone's list, and I was like, I instantly exited out of that list because
really?
I was like, even if you don't like Tootsie Pops, the actual like the Tootsie Roll part, the fruit flavored part is good.
Yeah.
But who would not want what's inside? Like
yeah, that's a little bit weird.
But anyway, weirdly enough, I got most of my suggestions from Fox News, which is, I guess,
well, they're covering the hard hitting issues.
They were right on one thing. The negotiations were short. Well, I guess we'll find out. Maybe right. They were completely off topic here, but we've got a couple things here. We've got one of the things that was suggested. This was actually on a couple lists. Is Mallow cups, whipped cream center milk chocolate. I've never had these before. Me neither.
It'll be a new experience.
So they look like Reese's cups, but I'm pretty sure they aren't gonna taste like one. I can't even get mine out. Cool. Dude, fuck this.
It's not bad. Dude.
Cool.
It's got coconut in it.
Does it?
Tastes like it. Yeah, it definitely does.
Cool.
Alright, that's alright. Not horrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say that was, like, bad at all.
Chocolate, marshmallow, and coconut.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest coconut fan, but I'll eat it from time to time.
I guess it depends. Like, certain people hate and despise coconut, and I don't. But if you don't like coconut, you probably wouldn't like those at all. So maybe that's what people were going with.
Could be.
Okay.
I'm glad I tried it.
So now we're going on to things that were not made this century. Fucking circus peanuts, which I've never had these either.
You haven't?
No.
My mom and my grandpa love circus peanuts.
Yeah, my mom was saying my grandma really like these. But
So I guess back then they had like two kinds of candy.
yeah.
It's like rock candy and circus peanuts.
I don't know.
Pretty good.
I don't know if I would really want to eat this ever again.
Really?
It's kind of like really sugary.
Yeah,
like
it's
more
like
so than like regular candy. I'm like, can't even. What's
like a dense sugar.
Yeah.
I don't know what flavor it is. Like banana?
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's not.
Eat 'em.
It's not like the worst shit I've ever tasted in a candy.
It's kind of like it reminds me of candy corn, which I also don't like very much, but
yeah.
It's all
Well, the last one I could procure because I was trying to get a bunch of other ones, but some other ones failed me. The other ones were like wax lips and shit, which wax. Like,
for me, my worst candy, or the one that I like the least, is sixlets. You remember those?
sounds familiar.
They're like wannabe M&Ms. But they're nasty tasting. So, sixlets, you got called out.
Speaking of nasty, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's Necco wafers.
Necco wafers.
I don't know.
Another super old style, or old school, right?
Yeah.
I've never had them.
Dude, these fucking suck already. It's just like chalk. Like, what the fuck is this? It tastes like dentist fucking shit.
That's pretty nasty.
Yeah. What would you describe that like? It just tastes like really low quality. Like,
It's like a
weird...
It's like candy that sat out for like a month and got super stale.
Sugar, corn syrup, gelatin, vegetable gums. What the fuck does that mean? Chocolate? Bullshit, there's chocolate.
It's kind of like if you take taffy
Yeah.
and leave it out till it becomes like hard as a rock.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it reminds me of.
It's got like a weird taste to it.
That's okay. The lemon one was okay. I mean, like, actually, my number one is now Necco.
And I'm just like, holy shit. He really likes it. He'll eat it.
That was a good experiment.
Yeah. I was kind of expecting to like hate those more, but sorry, I failed.
I do like those wax candies with the juice in them that you tried to get.
Yeah.
I like those, but they're gross and
Like
weird.
I said, they were just on a list of like the worst candies ever, but like honestly, like they weren't horrible.
It's like not satisfying though, because it's like just a big chunk of wax and with a tiny like drop of juice in there. Like,
Yeah.
why?
It's like, cool. This sucks. Oh man.
All right,
Okay, so
candy news.
near news for the candy. Go ahead.
I always go first.
Oh, okay, you want me to go first?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm gonna have to do some research.
So, this isn't the first time this has ever happened, at least I can think of, but, like, they're doing a Night of the Living Dead 2, but the thing that's kind of interesting about this is it's actually reuniting the, like, original surviving cast from Day of the Dead. So,
What?
like, yeah. So, it's...
I was gonna say the original cast from Night of the Living Dead. I'm pretty sure they're almost all dead.
They're dead as fuck.
They're dead. They're all messed up. So it's who's...
It's, Laurie Cardill, Terry Alexander, and Jareth Conroy. So, like,
Cool.
the black Jamaican dude, the Irish dude that was, like, a drunk, and, like, Sarah.
The survivors, basically.
Yeah.
Nice.
And, there's no real news on whether or not this is, like, kind of like a sequel to Day of the Dead in a regard, but, like, one of the things that I guess they were talking about is, like, they're survivors on an island where, like, zombies start coming out of the ocean. And I'm like, dude, that fits perfectly with what happened at the end of Day of the Dead, so...
I'll keep my hopes low, because to me it
Yeah.
sounds like a cash grab, and I'm pretty sure none of those actors have worked.
Yeah, oh no, yeah, for sure.
So, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that, like... I guess I'm just, like, more excited because...
It'd be cool to see them again, though.
Yeah, they're actually in a film and they're still alive, and, like... Unlike when they're like, we're doing the Day of the Dead show, and it looks so bad. It's like it's like a sci-fi, like it has nothing to do with Day of the Dead, other than they're just using the name and there's zombies in it. Like, there's nothing to do with, like, underground bunker, military, anything. It's like, okay,
That's cool. I hadn't heard that.
yeah,
And I'm a big fan of when they bring back people to play the roles after a long time, unlike Red Letter Media. We'll get to that.
we'll shift to that.
Don't tell Red Letter Media about this.
I'm sure they're going to be watching this right away.
All right. So my nerd news for the week is
Day of the Dead.
hashtag no bond, no bags continues into a
Oh.
third week.
I thought this was actual news. God damn it. Are you serious?
So this refers to On Cinema, which is in the middle of its like 12th season or something.
Yeah.
And we're huge On Cinema fans. I think especially me. Like, that universe is one of my favorite things out there.
You
And it's
definitely more
funny.
so than me. Like, I find it funny, but like,
It-
I don't
like,
have
it
the
kills
same
me.
like.
You're not paying to watch it like I am.
Well, that and I don't have the same interest to watch hours and hours of content of like that trial that was like how many hours was that?
It was like 4 hours
Yeah,
long.
4 hours of a fake trial
Genius.
of yeah.
But
Upon like the podcast that Tim does and stuff.
Mhm.
So
it's funny because No Bond, No Bags is like, so Greg is
Mm-hmm.
he'll review movies, but he's refusing to provide his
final score
bag
yeah.
grades in protest of not reviewing the Bond movie,
Right.
Which they
because
could just
they
do in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, they like skipped over it one week because like some huge thing happened on the podcast, and so Tim was like, "We're not reviewing, this week," and they won't go back. Like Tim is essentially like in charge of the show, so he's like, "We're not going back. Get over it." But like Greg will not review, or not. He will review it like you said, but he won't give like his like Siskel and Ebert equivalent, like out of thumbs up or thumbs down, like his bags thing. So like it just keeps going on.
So stupid. And now Tim is like guessing what his rating would
Yeah.
have been, which is always 5 bags.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's funny because like what he'll do on the podcast or on the show is he'll like even shit on a film and be like, even though it wasn't a great movie, I still give it 5 out of 5. And it's like,
Or they'll like talk crap about it, and then they're like, I think this will probably win the Oscar for
Right.
Best Picture.
and it's always like a shitty movie.
Like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. This will sweep the Oscars. Because it's essentially like they're playing it straight. It's like comedy. That's the best way to play comedy is to
It's
play
so
it straight.
funny. I still think one of my favorite things ever on that show is when Greg wrote a protest letter to Tim Burton
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't direct Romeo and Juliet with Johnny Depp. He's like, why didn't you do this? So funny.
Because Johnny Depp voiced one of the characters, right? Yeah, it's like, huh?
Anyways,
Oh, man.
so that's my news for the week. It's important news. People need to know.
The other person watching this podcast that's ever even heard of On Cinema besides us.
Look it up. There's hours of content,
There is.
it's great,
Um,
including Decker.
how much does it cost to sign up?
I signed up for the year. I think it was like $50, which seems kind of high.
How
But-
much is it like per week then? Like,
I don't know.
or
if they
I mean
even have
per
it
month,
weekly.
not week. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody does it per week.
So like less than $5 a
Yeah.
month. But they're gonna, after this On Cinema season, they're gonna do another season of Decker, and like there's gonna be more stuff. So.
Essentially, like the people that are buying this are like funding the stuff that like
Yep.
Adult Swim didn't want to pay for, which
Yep.
is like kind of shocking to me because like honestly, for their live action content at least, Adult Swim like they didn't have anything but like the stuff that like Tim, Eric, and Greg were ever producing. Because like if you think about it, like other than Rick and Morty and maybe a couple other like cartoons, like Adult Swim, because they've branched off to like if they're gonna do anything animated, it's usually like like Japanese animation on something completely separate, like Another Night. They're not gonna do so like for a long time, and it kind of blows me away that like Tim and Eric and Greg didn't get like the funding. Like they weren't like, we're gonna give you money for this. Like
Yeah.
obviously like Eric's not involved with like specifically what they're doing there, but like in the past they kind of built their whole like live action set around these guys, and it's like kind of shocks me that
Yeah, it's crazy, especially because like Tim said that with this method they've got like way more
funding than they would get from Adult Swim. Yeah.
So I mean, it proves that
Yeah.
people want to see it. So
Well, it's kind of weird because I know that like with Adult Swim or just in general Cartoon Network, they like canceled like their whole essential old lineup, and they like got rid of like I think Boomerang too and stuff, and it's just like, but channels are just kind of going the way of the dinosaur.
yeah, times are
anyways.
tough.
It's just kind of one of those things where most stuff's going streaming, which at first I thought that was going to be awesome, but now it's like eventually just going to be you're going to pay for the separate streaming services that have the channels you want instead of like a package that has everything. So who knows where it's going to go? But I watched the movie tonight, Halloween Kills, streaming. Did you do the same? Or
Yeah.
did you end up going to the
I
theater?
flip-flopped on my word.
Yeah.
I broke my word.
Well, you were going. I remember at one point you said you were going to go, but then you were like, actually, I'm just going to watch it at home. And then you were like, I don't know. I might go, and if I go, I'll let you know. But you never texted me, so I assumed you just watched
Yeah.
it at home because it's
Just the more I think about it, the ordeal of going to a movie theater isn't as appealing as it used to be.
Yeah, yeah. Also, for a podcast, it's so much easier to like have it at home to be able to pause if you need to take notes, or like if you have to go to the bathroom, you're not going to miss anything. So,
Well, I didn't have to pause or take notes because I was so thrilled by Halloween.
so you didn't take
2.
any notes. Wow, that's great to know.
No, I didn't.
What the? He just said he didn't, but he really did. Oh my! Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Shanna, wanna, shoulda. Okay, so I actually don't have a recommendation for this week.
Oh, drop the ball.
I know, right? Actually, I do have a recommendation.
recommend?
I do have a
Necco
recommendation,
wafers.
but I can't say it till later on.
All right. So does that mean it's time for Recommendation Nation?
Yes.
Spooky version.
The Matt.
I've got a really good one this week.
Okay.
So we mentioned it many months ago, but my Recommendation Nation this week is The Green Knight. So I finally saw
Did you
it.
finally got around to seeing
Yep.
this? Is this streaming anywhere now, or?
I think it's on like the Amazon services. and
Okay,
stuff,
so that's how you saw it,
Oh, I
or-
got the Blu-ray.
Oh, okay. It's on Blu-ray already.
Yep.
Okay. It wasn't that long ago. It was in theaters,
Now only a few
but now
months.
it's in Blu-ray.
The Circle of Life.
Ah,
But The Green Knight was rad.
what's it about?
So here's the premise.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on like a mythical Arthurian legend.
As
Where-
opposed to the real one.
Yeah, the real Arthur.
The guy that
His
like
name was Artie.
he threw fucking things at his running around his boxers.
But so like King Arthur and his knights are like having a holiday feast, and the Green Knight comes into their castle with a challenge, and he says, "I'll challenge anyone in this room to, take a stab at me. Basically, I'll let you have the first blow. I won't fight back. You can hit me, use whatever weapon you want, hit me wherever you want. But after that, a year later from this day, I'll return and deal out the same blow that you gave me." So like Sir Gawain is like a young knight, and
Yeah.
he steps up and he cuts off the Green Knight's head. But then the Green Knight picks his head up and puts it back
And
on his
he's
body,
like,
and he's like, I'll see you in a year.
Yeah.
And then that's the premise of the movie. So like it's his quest to confront the Green Knight a year later.
Oh wow.
And it's
pretty
like
cool.
a fantasy adventure movie. It's not like super action packed. It's more like a art movie style, but it was awesome.
It is Artie.
Yeah, Artie Lang.
Yeah, well Arthur's in it. King Artie.
Artie Lang plays the Green Knight.
King Artie and the Knights of the Circular Slab.
Yeah, highly recommended. It was sweet.
It looked. I
I love,
remember we
I
were
love
gonna.
fantasy movies like
Yeah.
that, and it's just they don't make them very often. So
I think me and you are kind of the opposite. I honestly don't give a shit about fantasy movies, but I know that you really like them. I'm
Yeah.
more sci-fi. But I know a lot of people are big into like sci-fi, or not sci-fi, but like fantasy. So like Lord of the Rings, like that, like Arthurian legend, like Wheel of Time, that kind of stuff. Like,
Willow,
yeah, Willow. He's like,
where they play the electric bass at that festival.
yeah, I'm like, and he's got like the wand on the cover, like,
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right.
good stuff, man. I'll have to actually check that out. I think for me, like,
Yeah, I loved it.
The reason why I generally don't like fantasy is because a lot of times it's like the same old crap. It's like if they're doing like an Arthur thing, it's generally like, this is how Arthur got the sword. It's like, dude, the lady in the lake fucking gave it to him. Who gives a shit? Like, or he like pulled it out of the fucking sword in the stone. Like, not like who gives a shit, but it's like it's like Spider-Man and Batman. How many times do we have to see their parents get fucking killed or Uncle Ben get shot?
I
It's
agree
like
with
everybody knows
I
what
agree.
happened to Arthur. Everybody knows what happened to Batman and Superman and Spider-Man. Like, start off with the good shit. Bypass the lady in the lake and Uncle Ben get shot.
Well, actually, there was another Green Knight movie from I think either the late 70s or 80s where Sean Connery played the Green Knight, and it was super like cheap and like
Yeah.
crappy, but
So this is like not something that was just made up. This is
Yeah.
like part of an Arthurian like
yeah,
old
it's just
tale.
another telling of that tale.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I do think that like adding new stuff to like old stuff like Arthurian legends like is something that would be really cool to do. Like You know, like, that just sounds like something that's never really talked about, is, like, some dude showing up and challenging, because usually it's literally just, like, the downfall of Arthur, the fucking, him is the, you know, thing, or, like, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Like, them going after the Holy Grail, it's like, come up with something new. But
yeah, well, I just like a good quest movie, like going from one adventure to another.
Now, do you like Quest 64?
I can't get through the first, like, hour. I've tried.
Maybe it's not a good one, then.
It's not.
Okay. So, let us move on to our topics of the night. Now, this didn't seem to load like I thought it would. Do you see this? It's like literally a bunch of points.
I know what it is. We can talk about it.
He knows what it is. Go ahead. What is this? Is it the Halloween film franchise continuity.svg?
You nailed it.
Oh shit, dude! Finally, wow, that's helpful. Whoa!
Illuminating.
Illumination. The studio.
It looks like something Dr. Loomis would have scribbled on his wall. Actually, it looks like one of the stupid runes.
Lonnie,
that like,
get your ass away from that!
Lonnie!
You're the Duke, Lonnie! Get your ass away from that!
So I guess basically you want to talk about the continuity between the Halloween franchises.
So I pulled up this continuity thing, and you can't... they don't have it listed, but I think we can pretty much figure this out.
Also, it's like... it's so convoluted and like
Yeah.
messed up at this point, like it almost doesn't matter. I think
No, it totally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just like, at this point, it's one of those things where it's almost worth talking about just for the absurdist nature of them, like, redoing it 80 fucking times, like, and it's so stupid. It's like...
so you have Halloween,
yes,
the original,
which is the first
the
one
masterpiece. Halloween 2, which was basically a bastardization of the first one that John Carpenter wrote while he was drunk.
Yeah.
And then you have Halloween 3, which is a total one-off, not connected in any way.
Right,
to
which
any
is
of
the
others.
one down here.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's
Then Halloween 4 picked up after Halloween 2.
Halloween 4, it's like the
generic
Revenge
title
of Michael Myers.
Yeah,
because there's the Revenge, Return, and the Curse.
Yeah. Which are the next.
Yeah.
So 5 and 6.
4, 5, and 6.
5 is where they introduced the druids.
Yeah.
Then you have 7, which is H2O
Yeah.
or H20.
Yeah. And then,
which was where Jamie Lee Curtis returned.
yeah.
Although she has a cameo. in Halloween 3.
Cameo.
And then 8, which is the first one that I saw in theaters.
Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is totally awful.
That's the one where she
With
like
Busta Rhymes.
essentially dies in the first couple seconds.
She dies in the first act. What's with that?
It's all backwards. And then we start all the way at the beginning again, and it's Halloween 1, Halloween...
The Rob Zombie Halloween.
20. Oh, that's true. Yeah, we've got the totally separate continuity.
So that's
just a
Halloween
reboot.
1, 2.
Yeah.
And then he made a sequel to that, which is Halloween 2, 2.
Which wouldn't even be considered Halloween. It's dog shit.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Actually... Okay, we'll get into this later, I guess. But
So then you have the third remake
yeah.
from 2018.
Which is just Halloween 3...
Halloween 1, 3.
But it's Halloween. It's like Halloween 2018. It's like... Why would you, like...
That's
name
why I'm
these?
changing it to Halloween 1, 3.
But this one sadly has a name.
Halloween Kills.
Kills, yeah.
Which is Halloween 2, 3.
But it's Halloween Kills because it has a name.
Or is it Halloween Thrills?
Not really. And then there's one called Halloween Ends, which is was supposed to come out this year.
The third in the trilogy.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's fucked up.
I think at this point, what I really learned is that there's not a whole lot to Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, is there enough to justify all these movies? I don't think so.
I mean, if you want to go into it, I have like a ton to say about this, and we can just do it right now.
Okay.
Because like, I honestly think that like the only good Halloween movie
Is a dead Halloween.
is Halloween 1 and 3. To me, like, 1 had an interesting premise because it kind of revived the slasher genre, but there's nothing to do with it after that for the most part, as Halloween and Halloween Kills kind of showed me. Like, it was interesting to watch them, but like, there's like nothing. Like, it's not
It's a slasher.
it's not like Cobra Kai where there was like actual characters to a degree that they were able to like do something.
Not even Lonnie.
And they don't have Donald Pleasance to like back this film up anymore. So
yeah. So over the last week, I watched Halloween 1 through 5 and Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. And I agree. I think Halloween 1 is like without question amazing. Yeah. Halloween 3 is great because it's totally insane.
Well, it's also different. It's like something that I feel like, I mean, even though it did bad because people were totally wanting to see Michael Myers, they got their wish, and now it's like all you get is dog shit. So I hope everybody's happy, because instead of having
this is what you want.
Yeah, instead of having like something different each time and doing like a what's it called, like a
anthology.
Yeah, anthology, which would have been awesome and could have produced some really interesting things like Halloween 3 and just in general. You wound up with a bunch of stupid Mike Myers movies.
Yep. I do like Halloween 2018 quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad, but it's definitely better than Halloween Kills, I felt. Yeah. Like, but I guess we could get into that as we go along, but it's just kind of like.
But one more note is the other movies, like there's good things in them. Like you mentioned Donald Pleasance, like he's great. Even in these crappy movies, especially Halloween 4, where the little girl kills her mother, and he's like, "Ah, ah," and that's the end of the movie. It's like,
he's like freaking the shit out, and then like there's like where he's like shaking her, and he's like, "Where is he?"
So I mean, there's stuff to like in them, but
it's all
even the
Pleasance.
Opening credits where you were like, you saw one shot and you're like, "Oh, that's Halloween 4."
Yeah,
that's some good opening credits.
Yeah, that's essentially the only thing about it. Like, there's nothing good in these movies. Like Donald Pleasance and the opening credits. It's not enough to make a movie franchise, sadly. It could have been, but I think what's missing from these films is like the John Carpenter feel and touch. Because the first one, and like, I mean, the second one, he was involved with, but he essentially was like, I don't want to do this. I want to do like something different each time, and that's what they kind of did with 3. Because him and Deborah Hill and Tommy Lee Wallace essentially like did 3, and you can feel it. It feels like a Halloween, They Live movie and stuff, and it's awesome. But the rest of these movies are like copy paste, fucking mystical Thorn cult bullshit. Then there's like Michael Myers is unkillable, and he's like an idea instead of I'm like, who out there really gives a fuck? Like, who's that? I don't know.
Based on the line at Flashback Weekend to Nick Castle's table, I think a lot of people do.
Well, there's a lot of stupid people.
Michael Myers is a beloved character.
He is. Too bad he doesn't do more Austin Powers movies.
I know.
But Mike Myers is
Big
just
selection.
a fucking waste. He's a character that is a non-character. That's the thing. He's just a killing machine, which is nothing wrong with that. But like,
there's not a lot to it, and that's Like Halloween 1 was so like well done.
Yeah.
What more? Like, there's not much more you could really do with that.
It's like Jason. Like, to me, it's like it's just a killer. Like, who cares? Like, I'm not a huge fan of like the Freddy movies, but at least he's like brings something. He's got his like quips. He's essentially like Spider-Man as a killer. But like, anyway,
I just think in general, like, slashers aren't probably our favorite genre.
I never get it.
But even the first Halloween is not really a slasher. It's a It's a horror movie.
That's why it's a good movie.
Right.
It's not just some mindless crap.
Right.
Anyway, let's get into this. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. I'm actually gonna have something here that I like to call. Is this a little too dark? That's actually not the segment. That's actually what I was wondering. I wonder if we should turn the light on already.
It's getting
dusk. It's getting kind of hectic.
From dusk till dawn.
Maybe I should plug it in here in a second. Let me go and do that now, actually, while we have a break. I guess we don't have a break. We're just flying by the seat of our pants. Oh, damn, the freaking tube stand back here is falling over. We have never.
That's disrespectful.
That buddy boy was talking shit, so we kicked over his tombstone. Don't talk shit about Total.
I agree.
Is that looking a bit better?
Illuminating.
Oh, illumination. Despicable Me.
Illumination Nation!
Illumination, the studio that will soon bring Chris Pratt to the theater as Super Mario.
Illumination, no breathing.
Illumination Nation. Lonnie, get your ass back to the future.
I think we can agree that's the greatest line in any Halloween movie.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Pleasance, as much as I was shitting on it, Donald Pleasance is like...
I forgot that he was John Carpenter's third choice.
To play Mike Myers?
Yeah. He's like, Lonnie! To play Loomis.
He's like, Jamie Lee, get your ass back here! Who was his first two?
Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
Dude!
Yeah.
See, this is why John Carpenter's the man.
I know. And Christopher Lee later said that he regretted turning it down.
Yeah.
Like, he screwed up. But neither of those guys would have been better than Donald Pleasance.
No.
As good as they would have been.
He's on par with them,
yeah.
I feel. And speaking of Donald Pleasance, we're about to have a tribute here that I wrote up today.
Nice.
So, I'd like to say before we begin that this is not all of Donald Pleasance's roles, because he had like a career that spanned over 240 credited roles. Just as an actor
Also, he's a
alone.
real life hero.
Yeah.
Like, do you have something about that?
I don't, but because I assumed you would probably bring it up.
He was in World War II, and he was a pilot, and he was shot down and like held in a POW camp, and like went through a crazy ordeal like long before his acting career in movies even started. So, like,
right, yeah, and
that's a man right there.
Yeah. And besides that, it's like one of those things where, like, from all accounts you hear that he was just like a super nice guy. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if something like that would have happened to somebody today, they would have been like, well, I was through the war and then I did all this stuff in movies, and it's like, yeah, like, I don't know. But anyway, so he's had many roles as an actor, but he's also had 6 as a writer, 5 for a soundtrack, and he actually directed 1 film. And he has 48 archival footage credits. And I think we would say to his contributions that they're still being felt today, since his death in 1995 at the age of 75. So, sadly, he passed away in 1995, but... which, when you think about it, like... I mean, Christopher Lee just passed away a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah,
so
he was super old.
And shit. But, I mean, that's, But I guess we'll start off with... I mean, these are, like I said, he's got so many credits. This is definitely not all of his credits, but as I was looking through IMDb, these are the ones that kind of jumped out at me. It's kind of shocking that he did make it big. Obviously, a lot of people know him as Dr. Loomis, but, like, one of his first huge roles was actually in 1967 as Blofeld in James Bond.
That's what I knew him from growing up.
You Only Live Twice.
Is he the best Blofeld?
Yes. Yeah, because it's Donald Pleasance.
I agree.
A character that inspired another doctor, an evil doctor. And is in another Mike Myers production, not called Halloween, but Austin Powers, baby. So yeah, he was the inspiration for Dr. Evil. And then, actually, I found this just by coincidence, but I don't know if this was a big role for him or not, but he played a character named Loomis in the 1972 spy film called Innocent Bystanders, which is, like we said, it's kind of weird because he played Dr. Loomis in Halloween, which is by far, besides Blofeld, I mean, I think Blofeld is probably his biggest, like, role as far as, like, that movie was huge, but Halloween was huge in cult status, and not to say that, like, Halloween wasn't huge, because it is. There's so many people that are a big fan of it, and we are as well, but, like, I think the franchise, probably Halloween, made more than, like, that movie by this point, but the Bond franchise has made more.
And he came back to life to be in Halloween Kills.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. He also was in an episode of Columbo in 1973.
Nice.
In 1978, he was in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band using the Beatles songs, one of the best musicals, in my opinion, of all time.
Did he sing it? Yeah, I've seen it.
As B.D. Brockhurst.
Did he sing in that?
He was, he played, like, one of the managers that was trying to, like, tempt them. I can't remember. He might have, like, sang, maybe, but then... in Halloween, he was Dr. Samuel Loomis, Then he was in another Columbo production in 1979, Miss Columbo, which you'll find this is interesting maybe. Do you know anything about Miss Columbo? So the lead was actually played by Catherine Janeway herself, Kate Mulgrew, and she played the famous detective reporter's wife, which solved crimes. And the guy that played Odo, Rene Auberjonois, in Deep Space Nine, appeared in 2 episodes, which I thought was weird because, like, apparently, like, we're probably never going to talk about Miss Columbo ever again on this podcast, but apparently, like, they tried to, like, link them, and, like, it didn't work out, so, like, by the end, they just called her Miss Callahan instead of Miss Columbo. So they were like, I guess that didn't work out. But he returned in Halloween 2 in 1981, and then one of our favorite movies, Escape from New York in 81 as well, as the President of the United States.
Y'all the Duke! Y'all the Duke!
I have like a space here waiting for you to say that. Which the man Snake Plissken, Kurt Russell, is tasked with rescuing. And Snake Plissken became the inspiration for another famous snake in the Metal Gear Solid games.
Everything's connected.
I know, right? 1987, he was in another John Carpenter masterpiece, The Prince of Darkness, as a priest, just like last week when we talked about Nosferatu and Venice, which actually came out a year after that in 1988. Which, in 1988, he was also in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, as Dr. Loomis. And then a year later, he returned in Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, as Dr. Loomis. And his last appearance in the Halloween franchise, while still alive, was in 1995's Halloween, The Ghost of Michael Myers. Which there are like 2 cuts of this film.
Yeah.
Right? Where like one at the end, he's like, you just see like something, it's like a syringe or like a mask, and it's like, he's like, ah, whatever, he's like screaming. And then there's another cut where he's actually in the film helping, what's his face? Paul
Rudd?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or something.
Yeah. I remember that being the absolute worst of all of them.
It's such a weird thing because they have a whole thing where Mike Myers is actually... You find out that Mike Myers is... The whole reason he does what he does is because he has this thorn tattoo and he's being controlled by, like, these wicked druids, and, like, he impregnated his, like, sister to, like, have a baby, and, like, at the end of one of the cuts, Paul Rudd puts, like, these fucking runes around, and Mike Myers is, like, can't move. It's like, okay. So, which film do you want to talk about first? Halloween 3 or Halloween Kills?
Let's do Halloween Kills to get out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
Halloween Thrills.
Let me go all the way down, because I think I have less notes about Halloween Kills than I do about Halloween Thrills. Okay, so we're going to talk about Halloween Kills. So I watched Halloween 2018 to get ready for this film, and I really didn't take any notes on it, but I did write down a couple of things of note that kind of stuck out to me.
Mm-hmm.
As a father is setting mousetraps, he sets out one of, and on accident sets one off on accident and says, "Oh man, I got peanut butter on my penis." Then later, "I gotta clean this peanut butter off my penis." They also have the silver shamrock mask, not only in this film, but Halloween Kills as well, which is legit.
Good reference.
Yeah.
That dad was one of the worst parts of that movie for me. Like, it was so,
yeah.
I almost couldn't watch. He was so bad. Like, I was embarrassed for him. Like, trying so hard to be funny.
It was awful. It was like, I'm a hip parent dialogue, but it's like,
so bad.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think of Halloween 2018?
I thought it was okay. I thought it was like, the problem is, like, this franchise is, like we talked about before, kind of marred with, like, across the board, like, we've already been here, done this, and, like, they kind of run that gambit not only with this film, but, like, Halloween Kills as well. So, like, in this film, in 2018, you run across the whole thing where, like, Laurie's not a victim anymore, she's ready, and, like, that's kind of what happens in Halloween H2O to a degree. She starts fighting back, and then and
I liked that the most. Like, I thought that was really cool to make her like basically a doomsday prepper with Michael Myers.
Right, but it's like already kind of been done, and then they kind of
Really?
did it. I mean, making her like ready and stuff. It was, I mean, not to that degree, but it was still better than Kills, where it was essentially just a rehash of Halloween 2.
I just thought it was very clever how, like, especially at the end, basically she was hunting him, and they would do like the same shot from the original Halloween, only it was reversed. You know what I mean? So I thought that was very clever.
I just felt like it, even if it hadn't been done, it felt like it was so obvious that I felt like maybe they had done it, even if they hadn't. Like the reverse thing, where like he looks down and she isn't there. I was like, haven't they already done this before? But maybe they hadn't.
I don't think so.
It just was so. It was like, as while I was watching it, I liked it, but like, yeah, thinking I was like, man, this seems like it's been done before. But maybe it was because it had been in the first movie.
Maybe I'm so basic that I think
I
clever.
I didn't.
I thought it was really clever.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was clever. I just thought it was just, you know, the opposite of what they would have done before. Not that it was like a bad movie at all. Jesus.
I think you've been listening to Red Letter Media and their wrong criticisms where they said it's been done before when it clearly hadn't. So
no, we'll
get to that.
I don't like shit. Which this movie wasn't, so I liked it.
There you go.
You were like, no, I liked 2018. Fine enough. I think I just
that dad though. I was so happy when he got killed and like shoved in a closet or something.
That was like everybody in this movie. Oh no, that was everybody in the second movie in Kills. People were just getting
just like
shoved
puts
all
his
over
little
the place.
body up in like a shelf. It's like,
yeah, they did the same thing in Kills with the one dad. He got shoved in an attic, but he didn't put him up all the way. He's just like peeking out. But yeah, I mean, I liked it enough. I think that like if they had kind of stopped here, I probably would have liked it more.
Could be.
The problem is like it continues into Halloween Kills, and not only that, but I think the biggest issue with this whole thing is like they let you know they're making 3 of these before any of this starts, so Mike Myers is not gonna probably die till the third one, if he gets killed at all in the third one. So
evil never dies.
Evil dies tonight.
Oh, tonight.
I was like, I agree. It's funny because halfway through Halloween Kills, I forgot there. Like I was watching it and I was like, then I remembered, wait, there's going to be another one. So I was like, huh, okay, well, he's probably not going to die. But you never know. They could have, like, swerved everybody and killed him and then done something different.
Had Connell Cochran come back?
Had something actually, like, original. But it was still, like, I liked Halloween 2018. Like, don't get me wrong. I had issues with it, but there were things about it that, like, it definitely was better than, like I said, like 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
But
and 7 and 8.
Yeah.
And the other remakes.
But it's also like, why make more than one of these?
That's what I'm saying. There's not much meat on that bone that hasn't already been picked off.
Yeah. And which you will see in Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
Which you are eating the marrow. So essentially what happens in 2018 is like you were saying, like, Laurie's been kind of like scared to death the whole time that like Mike Myers is gonna like escape.
Oh, that's the other thing is I thought it was really cool that he's an old man now.
That was cool. Yeah,
that's creepy. That's creepier.
I honestly liked the beginning of this movie more than like the rest of the film, where they kind of go in and see like that Mike Myers has essentially just been. He hasn't said a thing. He hasn't done anything really except for eat and poop. I'm assuming and sleep for like 40 years. And now he's got like scruff and like he's an old man and stuff, and they never show his face, which I liked.
You can barely get a little glimpse of it, but yeah,
but you see
like
really one of his eyes is like messed up from when he got like poked in the eye and like back in the day. And I do like how like in this movie, and I think like he takes damage, like he gets like in 2018 they think like the only fingers he has left are like on one hand is like these right here, so he's like. He gets like his hand kind of fucked up.
Yeah, but also he's like an old man, but he's like he can devastate like any comers.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, he's like
he's got
Kane
like
or the Undertaker.
Moves.
He's like a
he knows mixed martial arts. It's like,
yeah, he's this is where like Halloween Kills is kind of like where they start to go off the rails more with like Mike Myers and start to go into the guilty pleasure of the Halloween 4, 5, and 6, where Mike Myers just you cannot do anything against him because not only is this like Mike Myers in these films, he's smarter than he was in the other ones, like way smarter, because people will try to like do things and he'll just be like, before he would just be stuck, and now he's just like, which is cool. I never really was a fan of like Mike Myers just being an unstopping killing machine and being like an idiot, but now he's just like essentially unkillable, and it's like now we're back to square one, which is the one thing I kind of liked about 2018 was that he kind of seemed like he might be able to be stopped, but Kills kind of undoes that in the first 5 seconds of the film, and they go like
he can survive being roasted alive.
Yeah, they go full like 4, 5, and 6, and he's just like burning like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And at the end of this film, essentially they trap him in Laurie Strode's like cabin Terminator
Dungeon.
basement.
Yeah.
And they light it on fire, and the whole house is like burning, and they're leaving. And like he's in there in the basement, like there's like these bars across, and he's just standing there, and you're like, okay, well Mike Myers is dead.
Yeah, it's like the end.
Yeah,
over.
But like any Halloween film, this is not the end of the journey for Mr. Michael Myers. He is back in Halloween Kills, which came out just a little bit ago, the 15th of October, just in time for All Hallows Eve. So this movie is directed by David Scott Green and written by Danny McBride, which I was kind of shocked about, but after watching the movie, I guess not
Same
that
as
shocked.
2018.
Yeah.
Same team.
They must have done a lot. Well, I guess that's the thing is like, well, the second film of a 3-film franchise where Mike Myers is in it, what the fuck are you gonna do for the second film? They could have
killed a bunch of people.
They could have just killed him in the first one, and then just. I mean, people would have been pissed a bit, but it would have been interesting to see.
People love their Halloween.
Yeah, they love them Halloweenies. So this is a sequel to the 2018 Halloween and 12th installment in the Halloween franchise. The film stars Jamie Lee Curtis, that's a stretch.
Yeah, that was a big disappointment.
She was like a big part of the first one.
Yeah, she's great in the first one, like the best character. And
but essentially, they do Halloween 2.
You want to see her in a coma for the first half? Great.
That's exactly what they did in Halloween 2 when they had no ideas, was essentially, or like John Carpenter didn't even want to do it, and he wrote it while he was drunk, was let's just have her be at the hospital. But in this film, Mike Myers doesn't come to the hospital. He's just out killing random people, which is fine, but it's not really a movie. Like
he's trying to go home so he can look out his favorite window.
He's like a home that has been furnished to be like the coolest house of all time.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest
hipster house
renovation. It's like, dude, this is the shit. So the film stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Jude Courtney, who reprises their roles as Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, Judy Greer, Andi Matichak, and Will Patton also reprise their roles from the previous film, with Anthony Michael Hall and Thomas Mann joining the cast. The film, which begins precisely where the previous film ended, sees Strode and her family continuing to fend off Myers, this time with the help of the Haddonfield community. I would say this is more like the Haddonfield fucking lynch mob, because they're out to fucking destroy Mike Myers. And it doesn't really end well.
Yeah. I will say
you think it might, but
yeah, that's my favorite part about this movie is like basically it's the whole town versus Michael Myers.
Yeah,
which I thought was a really cool idea.
But it only like really comes into play in the last second of the film as far as like actual payoff.
Well, but
for him it pays off right away. Dude, that car of people that gets massacred, it's like. But we'll get to that.
Okay,
or will we? We will. So a character that I thought was dead as shit in 2018 is alive. Officer Hawkins. He's alive after being run over and stabbed multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
But that's okay. Because plot armor is now active in the Halloween franchise. Big time in Halloween Kills. These characters are like essentially unkillable unless they're just random people. Mike Myers is like, you thought that like Bruce Lee was a master. This guy is like, he takes on like a whole like a whole firehouse of fucking firemen that have like axes and like all this other shit.
He lays waste to everyone.
So like they go to like put out the blaze, and he just gets out of the house, and he walks out like in slow-mo, and everybody's like scared, and it's like one at a time, like why?
Which usually it's Michael Myers like stalking people. I don't know that we've ever seen him just like put a beat down on like a big group, you know? So I thought it was pretty cool, honestly.
I mean, yeah, it was kind of like,
which he does multiple times in this movie, where he just like,
the end was probably the stupidest part of this whole film, though, because I guess when we get to that, it's like, but anyway, so cuts back. So this is like a part of the movie where they like go back in time to 1970s, like, you know, Haddonfield, and it stays here for like more time than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Not saying that I'm not like complaining. I'm just saying it was kind of like that's what it was.
And it was kind of cool because well, maybe it's not cool, but they used like a lot of the same shots. Like it looks exactly like what happened in Halloween 2, the first Halloween 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they're doing the same thing over and over again, but at least they're like making a reference to the original, I guess.
I think it's one of those things where like if they had never done Halloween 4, 5, and 6, and they had never done Halloween H2O or Resurrection, this probably would have been so much better. But because they've done those films, even if they did something completely different, it's like, this is like the third time that they fourth, but the third time they've tried to say this doesn't count. This is what really happened in a weird timeline, which some people it bothers, some people it doesn't. I don't know if it really bothers me on that specific front, because I don't really care about continuity in these films. It's just when something has beaten the horse so many times, you're like, it's a little hard to get excited for it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm saying, is like it's hard to get excited for it, even though Carpenter and all these people are involved in some capacity. It's hard to be like, man, this is the greatest. It's kind of like,
I think we both keep saying it, but it's like you've drained all the juice from like there's not much to it, like, you know, which is fine, but
yeah. So you find out that like this Hawkins guy actually like blew his partner away back in the day. He like missed Mike Myers and shot him in the throat.
I really did like the Red Letter Media's criticism of that.
What did they say?
Well, they said usually when there's a standoff like that, you know, someone has a gun to the other or a knife to the other person's head, but Mike Myers was like strangling him. So like he could have just walked up to him and blew him away.
That's
and,
what
like,
I was thinking when I was watching.
I didn't think about that, but that's funny.
He just stood in the doorway.
Yeah,
it was like
strangulation takes more than like an instant, so he probably would have been okay.
Yeah. And then we've got Loomis showing up in all his CG weird Clayface glory. So they bring
good times.
They bring Loomis back, and he was in, I think, the 2018 version as well, to a degree, with like some of the lines and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like, you kind of hear him and stuff. But in this, he's like you see
CG
his face,
Loomis,
and it's this time it's not. It's I don't think it's his voice. It's someone completely different,
really?
Because I mean,
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's like it sounds a little off. And it's not like Tarkin, where it's like full CG person, like in Star Wars. What's it called?
The Cartoon Man.
Yeah, but it's like something's off. It's like he's like Clayface. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't look exactly right. Doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't look like, you know, Loomis. Completely. He looks a little like somebody inflated his face or something. But having said that, it's cool to see him, like, there's a part where they finally beat Mike Myers down, and that he's like, you know, kind of just on his knees, and like Loomis is about to like blow his brains out,
like execution style.
And then like one of them stops him, and I'm like, and that's why he says later on in the film, like, it was my fault. I should have like let Loomis
I should have executed a man in cold blood.
It's like, well, they were all about to do it anyway, but like one dude stopped them, and then they were like, okay. It's like, eh. So Tommy Doyle, Lonnie, and the little girl from the fucking first movie, and the nurse that was in one scene. They're in a bar, which I guess they all kind of hang out together. They're like friends and stuff.
So I thought that was cool.
There was like one thing about it that I thought was kind of weird. Like, I could see like they had them getting together like on the anniversary and stuff like that because they're like victims. Maybe they were in a support group,
right?
I don't know if it was really implying that they were like friends. Like I could see them being friends, like Tommy, Lonnie, and like the little girl because they were all the same age. The nurse is a little bit of a stretch because she's older, but at the same time, older people hang out with younger people. That doesn't mean that they couldn't have, like, well, maybe she's got nobody in her life, and they, like...
That's one thing Red Letter Media really harped on that pissed me off, because they're like, the nurse would never be... She wasn't even in the same town. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter. I just watched a documentary about, like, the Hillside Strangler, I think. Mm-hmm. Or I forget what the
Greasy Strangler?
Which, speaking of Recommendation Nation, have you ever seen that? Holy cow.
Yeah.
But, like, the victims of these crimes, like, get together to, like, form support because...
Like, I mean, it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
Like,
they were like, this is desperation to bring all these characters back. And I was like, not really. I think it's kind of cool.
I mean, it is desperation, but it doesn't mean it's not cool.
I say no. From my perspective, I liked it.
I mean, it was okay. It's like... I do see where it's like kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, but at the same time, there's nothing left. So what are you gonna do?
Right.
Like,
Lonnie.
I mean, essentially, the ideal thing would be to not make this fucking film, but we know that's not gonna happen because they're making
to do something original.
Yes. Speaking of original, we'll be talking about.
I think we did skip over it, but I thought it was so stupid when there's a scene of Lonnie getting bullied by like these.
Yeah, they're like
this family of
they're
bullies.
like the O'Doyle.
Exactly, that's basically like O'Doyle rules. But there was like O'Malley or something.
Yeah, but it was like one of the girls was like in love with him. Essentially, it was like, what?
It's so stupid.
Not only that, but like I forgot. Was Lonnie even like a character in the original movie? I guess he was.
He was like a kid that Loomis yelled to get out away from the house,
which like is one of those things. It's like. Dude, that is so, like...
It's a stretch.
Yeah, because, like, I couldn't even remember the motherfucker. So when I saw, like...
You couldn't remember the infamous line? Lonnie, get your ass away from that.
Because I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I mean, really, who matters in that movie?
Lonnie.
Loomis, Mike Myers, and, like, Laurie Strode. Yeah. That's essentially what the movie boils down to. And Laurie Strode is alive. Donald Pleasance is dead. And
they should have called this movie Lonnie Kills. Halloween Kills, The Return of Lonnie.
They killed Halloween by including Lonnie and all these other motherfuckers. So, yeah. I don't know. I didn't have a problem with this. It was just kind of like... It was just, like, sad to watch this. It was like...
What'd you think of... what's his name? Rusty from Vacation. I'm blanking on his name. Like one of the main dudes. The main dude who like riles up.
God, the guy that played Tommy Doyle.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah.
Like, Rusty. He's Rusty from Vacation.
He is Rusty in this film.
See, that's another thing. I thought he was great in this movie. Like I thought he was amazing.
He was fine in this movie.
It was a great character.
It was just like. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like the the dim-witted redneck like guy that is out to like that's the last thing I'll say about Red Letter Media. That their review really triggered me. But
I mean, I thought
he's awful in this movie. And it's like no,
I thought he was fine in this movie, but it's just like a lot of the stuff about this is kind of like I guess I could see like that's the thing is like I'm kind of on the fence about some of this because like I can see definitely like where. All these people like Tommy Doyle and like these other characters like are traumatized still in Laurie Strode, but like say something like happened where we live like when we were kids. Me and you weren't involved in it, but we heard about it. And then like the person came around here.
Something did happen, that murder.
But me and you wouldn't fucking give a shit to go look for the killer.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like,
I knew where the killer was. He lived across the street from us in our old neighborhood.
Yeah, it was me. What? You're next. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It rang true to me. Like, if you walk up to Pleasure Inn right now, you'll find 10 dudes that are exactly like that character.
Right. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, just the whole town wanting to, like, go after one guy was kind of, like, a little weird to me.
I mean, it was definitely over the top.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, were you thinking about January 6th in some scenes of this movie? Like, I sure was. Like, the storming of the Capitol. It was exactly like that.
Oh, no, I didn't really think about that at all.
It really reminded me of that.
I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, like, yeah, I don't know.
Groups can get riled up, man.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see that, but at the same time, like, this is after a fucking, like, a killer, like, something that happened 40 years ago. People, after 40 years, people kind of, like, lose interest in shit. So I think that's maybe what my whole thing about it was, is that...
Maybe.
And that's the only thing, like, I'm not, like, trying to, like, agree with, like, what they were saying, because, like, they were just, like, shitting on this film. But, like, that was kind of one of the things that I kind of agreed with, where it was, like, this becomes, like, out of control. And, like, that can't happen, like you said, with the Capitol, but, like, that was in response to something that happened, like, within a year or so. And people were, like, so worked up about it and shit, but, like, if something happened 40 years ago, people can barely, people, like, at this point, a lot of people don't even remember 9/11, so, you know what I mean? I don't know. Not saying it's out of the... I mean, this is a fucking film where, like, a dude kills, like, 50 people in the first 5 seconds of the film. So it's not out of control, but it's still, like... I will have to give Tommy Doyle major charisma points for being able to sway an entire town to the deathly fucking hollows of...
Yeah, dude.
Of overcoming the police, and the police also not doing shit about it.
They pretty much just give up. They're
Yeah,
like, well,
just kill him.
we tried.
Yeah.
It's over.
There's a shot of the police chief or whatever with his cowboy hat sitting in the fucking stairs, and his, like, hat's been stomped, and he's like...
That's another weird thing about these movies is, like, the director and Danny Boyle, like, they're from the South, and, like, there's a lot of, like, Southern touches in this movie, even though it takes place in, like, Illinois. It's like, I don't think you see a lot of dudes wearing cowboy hats in Illinois.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just make it take place in the South.
Well, not only that, but, like, if it was in the South, I'm pretty damn sure the fucking police would have a way better handle on the people than, you know, here.
No comment.
We're
getting political on this show.
It's true. Just in general, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to believe that the police would just be like, fucking just go kill him. Like, if they really cared, like... Maybe they were saying don't do it, but they really meant do it. They're like, stop, don't, no. So...
Like, stop it, turn it off, stop it.
So Laurie is bleeding as they're rushed to the hospital, and they see firemen going to the place, and they're going to put it out, and she's, like, flipping out. Rightfully so, because Mike Myers is in the basement.
Crazy that the ambulance got there so much more quickly than the firemen.
It was also funny that, like, they were... able to like, my thing is, like, she was out in the middle of nowhere. Who called the fucking fire department? Also, like, they weren't even to the hospital before they were dispatched to go put out this blaze in the middle of fucking nowhere. They were like, we're here. So he gets out of the basement and just starts going on a spree, as we said. And then you see Laurie getting worked on, and she's gonna be okay. But then we're not, because she spends the rest of the film in the fucking hospital.
That's the point where we're watching this. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
They're sidelining the best character.
Essentially, they make this into, like, Halloween 2.
Yeah.
With a side of mob justice.
Mm-hmm.
But not for the whole film, weirdly enough. There's, like, random spots with some other shit that happens. This film feels kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, So this is one of the funniest parts of the film to me, is when there's this old couple, and one of them has this little drone, and they're having fun, and like it's like a black lady, and she's married to like this white like mafioso dude almost. He's like, hey, like, and he goes, there's a big dude in there wearing a monster mask, and she's like, what does he want? She says, who gives a shit? Call the cops. And I was like,
Great dialogue.
and then he just destroys both of them hardcore.
Yeah, like the kills in this are not messing around.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
In a slasher film, that's the only reason why you come to
exactly
see, so,
like it is. It's a weird genre.
yeah. But like, holy shit, Mike Myers grabs a fluorescent lamplight and backyard wrestling style breaks it and stabs a lady in the throat.
Mm-hmm.
And she like bleeds out while she's like watching her husband get
knifed in the back
stabbed in the
over and over again.
Yeah. He's like, and the guy's been dead for like an hour, so it's like,
I'm like, okay.
are you okay? So there's like
That drone sure deserved some harsh criticism because it didn't return. Whatever.
why don't you just go ahead and talk about it?
I gotta stop. Let's move on.
Okay. So, there's a part where, let's see, they're at the bar, and then, like, this couple, like, black dude and this, like, black lady, like, one of them's dressed up as a nurse, and the other one's dressed up as, like, a doctor, I guess, or a scrub. And they're like, oh, I forgot my, like, the guy's like, I forgot my stethoscope. I'm like, what the fuck? You just found out Mike Myers is free and killing people and you're going back for the stethoscope. I thought that was so ridiculous. But it looks like Mike Myers was driving his car. He takes off with Tommy Doyle in hot pursuit, but then he crashes. And you see it's not Mike Myers, but the Penguin with his umbrella. Yeah, it's like this guy that escaped in the first film, like, that's like mentally disturbed or whatever, and he, like, his whole thing was he had like an umbrella and he had like long hair. Weirdly enough, this guy was like chained up outside, so this guy must have been like a threat somehow, but he was like super nice. So I don't know what that was all about, but yeah. Then we come to a part of the film that I don't know how to feel about. So like, there's this dude playing a record, and essentially you never find out what these people's real names are. They're just named Big John.
Yeah, Big John and Little John.
And
that's their names.
He just wants to get high, put on a spooky record, and dance. But let's not count out Little John, because his life... Wait, what? Let's not, like, his wife, I mean, who is played by Michael McDonald of Mad TV and Austin Powers fame. This is like the first time I've seen Michael McDonald in anything in a long time.
Look what I can do. Yeah, when he showed up, I was like, dude!
Yeah, the most annoying character in Mad TV history.
I'll never be able to take him seriously in any movie ever.
But
Look what I can do.
He was, like, pretty good in this movie.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Big John and Little John are probably, like, I'll probably remember them more than 90% of the other crap in this
It's one of
movie.
those things, though, where I don't know how to feel about the characters.
It's very silly.
Yeah, I don't know if this is supposed to be, like obviously these are, like, a gay couple, but is this supposed to... Am I supposed to be like, this is good, or is this bad? Like, it comes off like they're
It's hard
not...
to tell.
Yeah, because they're not like, hey, but, you know...
They're not gross stereotypes.
Yeah, but there are things about them that's a little, like...
Or are they?
Yeah. The Big John, Little John thing is a little interesting. I'm not slamming on people if, like, say me and you were a couple and you called me, like, Little Mike and you were Big Matt, but, like, you know, like, so these kids trick or treat Little John and Big John, or trick them into thinking that, like, one of their kids bit into a candy that they gave them and is, like, bleeding out, and, like, they tell them the story of Mike Myers because the house they now live in is, like, actually his house. And they tell them to get out, and because he calls them little perverts. And I'm like, what? What does that mean? I mean, I know what it means, but it doesn't make sense because the kids weren't perverted.
It means they were ad-libbing, and that's the one that's stuck in the
final
edit.
I have a line here, a thing that says, I don't really like the mom in this movie. Like, I like Laurie Strode, the grandma, and I like the daughter, but the mom is kind of annoying me at the point in this movie. I guess maybe she's supposed to come off like a Karen, but
Well,
things kind of changed.
were you thrilled to see her get her comeuppance?
I mean, she kind of changed a little bit over time for me, but like in the first film and this film, she kind of just, I don't know, like was a little.
She's
bit,
another one. It's really hard for me to take her seriously because she was like so funny in Arrested Development. That like I can't
right.
think of her as a different character, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, say that like, holy shit, they're starting a posse, a militia, whatever you want to call it down. They're hunting down Mike Myers, baby.
Classic note.
Yeah. So, I will have to give this movie credit that the children dialogue in this film is pretty spot on. Like, it's annoying, but it's spot on. They're like, you know, how kids act, especially ones that do whatever the hell they want and don't care. Like, they're like, you know, kiss my ass, like, haha, like, you know. There's another line that was like, totally I've heard kids say before that's like, it's like a meme line that's like lame, but like, it's what kids say, you know. But like, in the first film, they kill a fucking kid.
Yeah.
In this film, they don't kill one on screen, but he gets killed because like he's holding up a fucking bloody mask or whatever. But in the first film, he fucking like snaps a kid's neck. And I was like, holy shit. They don't shy away from that. I think.
Speaking of kids, that one kid was. That's actually my favorite line where he was like, I was just cutting my nasty ass toenails.
Yeah. Oh, the little kid that like she was babysitting.
Getting babysat, yeah. Like the kid had some.
I
moxie.
didn't used to have to cut my own my nasty ass toenails. It's like. Okay.
Michael Myers shows up and he's like, oh shit.
He's like. So the driver leaves the car while everyone else is pretty. Like, I never understand this in movies. So the driver gets out to check things out when anyone else could have done it. Because what happens?
Therefore, trapping everyone else.
Mike Myers shows up and
it's
they
a
can't
slasher
just
movie,
drive
dude.
away.
That's how you set up.
Like,
a bunch
I
of
never
people
understand why the driver gets out. It's called the wheelman position for a reason. Like, fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. So dumb old lady uses all of her bullets, and when she says this is for Dr. Loomis, she has no bullets, and like she just gets like, he's like, and she's like, bong. And then like, the doctor tries to choke Mike Myers out with his stethoscope, and he just like turns and is like, and he's like, bong. The stupidest thing is like, his like this throughout the whole movie, this like, this lady is like, essentially belittling her husband the whole time, and she's like, why are you such a fucking wimp, and like, why are you a piece of crap, give me the gun. And when she knows how to use it, and like she is missing, and like when she was shooting the gun, she was shooting from like miles away, and when she finally gets up to like shoot him like point blank, the door like hits the gun and she like blows her own head off. And I was just like, this bitch.
That was pretty out of control.
I was like, yeah, this was like...
I guess it's a rule in slasher movies that, like, all the characters have to be super dumb.
Yeah. But, yeah. She got killed by herself. There was one, like, actually kind of interesting thing, because she, like, the lady that was left, like, that was the driver, like, ran away and, like, actually hid, and, like, Myers never found her.
No, really?
Remember? Because, like, she's hiding down, like, Hobbit style from, like, the Nazguls.
Oh, yeah. I guess.
And I was like, holy shit, dude. I don't know if I've seen that in, like, a long time, because usually what'll happen is they'll make you think that, like, she got away, and then he's like, you. And I'm like, okay, this fucking sucks. But that was, I mean, that was pretty cool. It wasn't, like, awesome. I wasn't, like, out of my seat. But it was different, which is, in any of these movies, when something different happens, I'm like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So we already talked about the Shamrock mask, because that's like something that I have here.
Yep, that was a cool touch.
I have a note that says, I just watched Laurie jam a needle in her ass. That was something that happened in this film.
Yep.
She was like, I'm gonna fucking make the pain go away and go after Mike Myers. Oh! And I was like, Jesus! She had some line about taking his head as he takes mine. which never happens. They don't even come face to face in this film because her wound gets reopened, and she, like, during the mob that ensues in the hospital.
Maybe it'll happen in Halloween Ends.
Maybe.
We'll find out
In like,
next year.
Yeah, next
November
year.
24th.
Is that when it's supposed to come out? Okay.
I don't know.
That those bitches are in the bushes, says Big John. So Big John and Little John have knives, and yeah, I don't know how to feel about this still, because it's like it's done so jokingly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like, Little John, I got this knife, and he's like, Little John's like, Big John, I got this knife, and I'm like,
I think, was that maybe a reference to Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Because that's what he says.
Yeah,
He's like, I have this knife.
yeah, I thought it was something like that, but I couldn't quite place like where it was from. But it was also like,
I don't know. I
this-
liked Big John and Little John.
I
glad
did. I did too.
They
but
put some humor in, or they at least tried to put some humor
it's just
in.
like, I felt like this was so, like, everything in this movie was just like things they just threw in to a degree. It was like, let's have some reoccurring scenes with these two characters that are like a gay couple that are just hanging out, and then Mike Myers kills them. But you're almost like, why did he kill them? Because they were like really the only kind of interesting characters in the film. And like, let's have Tommy Doyle get all worked up, but in the end it didn't matter because he just gets killed anyway. And like,
It's a slasher.
one more character that we've got rid of. The escape mental patient with the umbrella shows up at the hospital, and somebody's like, "It's Michael Myers!" And he's like,
It's over, dude. He's
"This
done.
was like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen."
mob justice, dude.
And like, everybody thinks it's Michael, so like it's gonna be a repeat of what happens in like Halloween 2, where like they may stick someone else for Mike Myers, or not Mike Myers, not 2, but H2O. And they like cut off the head of someone else, but the police officer ends up killing him by running him over, but that doesn't happen like in Halloween 2, where like Mike Myers gets fucking massacred, but it's like a kid in a Mike Myers costume.
Is Ben Tramer.
Yeah,
Like
which,
the kid
which
that-
was like,
He gets annihilated.
why was he dressed as Mike Myers? I mean, he
And
didn't
why
know.
was the cop driving at like a million miles an hour down a residential neighborhood?
He's like, he's like, this Mike Myers is gonna fucking die tonight. And I'm like,
on Halloween night when there's kids running.
yeah. He's like, I want to take you for a ride.
It's like,
Oh,
boom.
Wisey says, nice beanie, Matt.
Ah, thank you.
You want to say something about your beanie? What is that?
I've had it since the 80s.
Yeah? Well, what is it?
It's a
Hat for the Bengals of the
Yeah.
Cincinnati variety that play the football on the field. Who dey?
the Gridiron Heroes.
Yeah. Welcome to the other jungle. Hell yeah, brother. So, Michael McDonald scares himself by looking in the mirror. I have to say, the way that Big John and Little John have decorated Myers' house is freaking elegant. I thought it was like really cool. I like the green. That's what we've come to. We're talking about the fucking interior of a house.
Well, that's another thing that Red Letter Media had a big problem with, was like the zesty popcorn sign that they talked about for 10 minutes.
Zesty popcorn. I stopped watching it after a bit because I was
They
like,
started complaining about the set dressing, and like in one scene in the bar, there's a popcorn machine that says zesty popcorn. And he's like, you can't have that that totally takes me out of the movie. It's like, dude,
what? That's like kind of like, I remember like
that's a thing. Like,
in your like house, like Matt's like the first person I knew that his parents had like a popcorn machine.
yeah,
And you guys had like that and a bunch of other like stuff down there that was like, it's just flavor to add to your room. Like, it's a house.
it's like things like that exist in real life.
right. Like, why would it not be there?
I know. And it's like, whatever.
Oh, you can bring it, man. Say whatever you want to say.
Beating that horse to death.
Hey, just like this franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Trying to get blood from a stone.
Would you try to romance one now? Oh, I've got a similar one that my cat ruined.
Oh,
Wisey
bummer.
said.
That
Just like
sucks.
they ruined this franchise. So, Michael McDonald has come face to face with two Mike Myers. One Austin Powers and one killer. It's a damn riot. People are rushing people everywhere and pushing them, and even doctors and nurses are pushing other people away. I'm like, what the fuck is this? The nurses and were throwing. They're like, remember that shit when I took the Hippocratic Oath? That doesn't mean shit. I'm throwing people down the stairs and hurting people. So yeah, everybody chases this guy up to the top floor, and he like ludicrous Gibbs himself.
Yeah.
Like,
It's pretty gnarly.
it was like he turned to gelatin. I was like, good lord.
One of my old roommates had seen that happen in real life before, and that's pretty much what happened.
Oh, he saw some dude like jump off the top floor.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
I thought that was just bullshit. I guess the human body is made up of like a lot of water.
Yeah.
So, like Mama or whatever from fucking
Mama.
from what's it called? Dread,
Yeah.
where she like jumps off the thing. Legit movie. That's a recommend. Actually, that's my recommendation.
Yeah, Dread.
Dread.
Dread is right.
If you haven't seen that film, it like nobody went and saw it except for us. Or a horror themed one is Dracula. Dracula. You ever seen that Dracula? Dracula Unleashed or Unbound with Chris Hemsworth's brother in it. Great movie. So one thing I saw in this film that was kind of weird was like the front door of the Myers house was unlocked earlier. Or was unlocked when they go to like confront him, but like earlier Big John locked it. So
Really?
did Mike Myers unlock it?
I didn't catch that one.
So we're kind of in the final stretch of this film, Matt. So what do you think about this? You think this is a murder? Do you think this is a kill?
Halloween Kills.
Holy shit. So there's another thing here which was a little weird. I didn't know who did this. Was it Michael Myers that did it? This is smart Mike Myers, though. He played a record. He starts a record. They went upstairs to see who could this be that started this record. Nobody's in there. But then they look up, and the dad is stuffed into the attic. And then Mike Myers comes out, and he kills the boyfriend by breaking his neck. The question is now answered. He started the record. This is a smart Mike Myers. I like it, though. Back in the day, I would have thought it was stupid, but Mike Myers, he's smart in this film, so he started the record, and I like it. Actually, I didn't really care either way. I just thought it was stupid. Yeah. So this lady's leg gets fucked up so hardcore, and it was hilarious because, like, the mom comes and is like, "Yo!" like pitchforks the shit out of Mike Myers, and then comes the fucking beating of Mike Myers. Because, like, she leads him off, and the whole town's there, and they start beating the shit out of him. And, if this was, like, the end of the franchise, I was like, this is awesome.
He just gets beaten to death by a mob.
But, you know, there's one guy there with a gun, everybody else melee weapons, and he shoots the shit out of Mike Myers. But he has no bullets left. So she's like, well, that's it. Everything's fine. I'm going to go hang out with my daughter. And Laurie Strode says, I always thought Mike Myers was flesh and blood. Just like you and me. But a mortal man could not have survived what he's lived through. The more he kills, the more he transcends into something else. Impossible to defeat. Fear. People are afraid. That is the true curse of Michael Myers. Allison, he'll always be here, won't he? Even when we can't see him. Laurie Strode, you can't defeat it with brute force. Officer Hawkins, if we only knew what we know now. It is the essence of evil. The anchor that divides us. It is the terror that grows stronger when we try to hide. If they don't stop him tonight, maybe we'll find him tomorrow or next Halloween. When the sun sets and someone is alone, you can't close your eyes and pretend he isn't there, because he is. And as she's saying this, he's like, gets up from the fucking 12 shots that got put into him and just kills the shit out of everybody because they don't have any more bullets and nobody decided to like have a gun to shoot him in the head like 20 times. And
it wouldn't have mattered. Evil never dies.
That's true.
That is funny that he says, if only we knew what we knew now. It's like, dude, that already happened in the first movie.
I was like, it wouldn't matter.
Loomis filled him full of lead and he got up and walked away. Like, you knew that already.
He shot him 7 times with a gun that held 6 bullets. Not only that, but it's like just drop an atomic bomb on him. Nuke your own country.
Doesn't matter. We may see him again tomorrow or next year, streaming only on Peacock. Halloween
you might want to
ends.
close your eyes and pretend he isn't there, but he is. So what's your final score for this film?
I'd maybe do like a 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.5.
Yeah.
There's some things I definitely liked about it. It's not as horrible as all the reviews say. There's some good stuff in it, but in the end, it's just a slasher. Like,
yeah. I was going to give it a 3.5, but the more we talked about it over the thing, I'm giving this
Really?
like a 3 or a 2.5 because this maybe's not that great.
Yeah.
But I would give Halloween 2018 probably like a, I don't know.
I'd probably go 4 on that one.
Yeah, that's what I had was 4 because
It's good stuff.
I don't know. 3 or 2.5 out of 30. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll review the movie, but I won't tell you my final score until we see Bond.
I would love to see Bond. I just don't want to see it in theaters.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't see anything in theaters. Just kidding. I do want to see one thing in theaters. My Name in Lights. The Buddy Shots movie. So now we're about to talk about an actual good movie here, in my opinion.
Good.
Yeah. Great.
Amazing.
Wonderful. Stupendous. Orgasmic. So now we're about to talk about Halloween 3, the only film that thankfully has nothing to do with any of the other Halloween films. This is Halloween 3, subtitled Season of the Witch. Now this was made in 1982, and it's an American science fiction horror film and third installment of the Halloween film series, loosely. It is the first film to be written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, the creators of Halloween and Halloween 2, return as producers. Halloween 3 is the only entry in the series that does not feature the series antagonist, Michael Myers, baby. After the film's disappointing reception and box office performance, Michael Myers was brought back 6 years later in Halloween 4, The Return of Dogshit. Yep. So Halloween 3 could take place this year. Wait, what? Oh, wait, yeah. So I was going to say Halloween actually 3 could take place this year because as we speak, like the 30th is Saturday, like this movie took place on like the same set of days. So watch out for those Halloween masks. It's scary. And it's hairy. So, I have to say the movie looks really good with like the Shout Scream Factory release. I got like the Blu-ray that had like the new 2K scan supervised by some bullshit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really good. It had features from the old one. I think they probably added maybe one more feature. I don't know, but it still had the commentary, which I really want to watch with Tom Atkins.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet either.
I'm sure it's awesome.
Yeah.
And John Carpenter does the music for this film, so fuck yes.
The score is great.
Yeah. Which, that was one thing I think we didn't really talk about, I guess, for Halloween and Halloween Kills, is John Carpenter and his son and, like, one other dude did the score. So, like, that obviously... That's the thing is, like, a lot of times in movies, like, I mean, that's not generally a problem. Like, Halloween... Or, like, the Star Wars films always have great music, like, regardless of what you feel about them. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
John
they
Williams
elevate
brings
the
it.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Williams brings it, John Carpenter brings it, and it's been brought. So before we get started here, you have anything to start off to say, or?
What are your thoughts on Halloween 3?
I like it. I like it more than all these other films.
Even the original?
No, I mean, like, I think as we've said, the original was really the only one that should exist with Mike Myers. to me at least. Like,
this movie is like one of the craziest movies. Like, I just love how
it's just so out of control,
yeah,
but it's
like there's so much that makes no
it's
sense.
like they live, and like, yeah, it's just so. It's out of control, but in a way that's like, this is good stuff to watch. This is like
it's so
good horror
entertaining,
sci-fi. Dude. Like, this is why you watch movies, is to like be entertained, not to be like, why are they making another one of these? Like,
okay, so I was pulling up Roger Ebert's review here.
yeah, go for it, man. Piss me off.
He gave it 1.5 stars.
What a surprise! I mean.
He said, there are a lot of problems with Halloween 3, but the most basic one is that I could never figure out what the villain wanted to accomplish if he got his way. Which...
He didn't watch the film?
I know, he says what he wants.
He actually has like a Dr. Evil,
right.
like, bad guy speech, which I actually wrote down, which we'll talk about later, about like what he wants in the film.
Yeah, so he pretty much...
Shit cans it.
Yeah. But here's the last part.
Mm-hmm.
The one saving grace in Halloween 3 is Stacy Nelkin, who plays the heroine. She is one of those rich voices that makes you wish she had more to say and in a better role. But watch her, too, in the reaction shots, when she's not talking, she's listening. She has a kind of rapt, yet humorous attention that I thought was really fetching. Too bad she plays her last scene without a head.
I felt like she was the worst part of this film. Like, I didn't think she was bad.
I've already forgotten, like,
yeah, she was essentially
really.
just like a chick that barely wore any clothes for Tom Atkins to bone. Like,
to cheat on his wife.
Yeah. Which Tom Atkins is like a swinger baby in this movie, hardcore.
He's
like,
more than a swinger. I was thinking about it, like...
He's a fucking sexual deviant.
Has there ever been a bigger scumbag who's like the lead character in a movie?
He's like sucks. A scumbag in this film, and he's kind of a scumbag in Fog, too.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, yeah, baby! He's like, sex? Yes, please.
He lies to his wife.
Yeah.
And, like, abandons his
children to, like, fuck random people.
He, like, makes up all these lies. Like, I swear I've got to work. And then he, like, rolls up a 6-pack of beer, and he's like, come on, baby, let's get drunk.
Oh, man. This film is so good. I don't know. I know people are divided. You know, either if you love Mike Myers, you hate this film because it's one less Mike Myers film you could have had. But I say, fuck that. We should have had no more Mike Myers films after this. It should have just been
more Tom
anthologies.
Atkins. Tom Atkins should star in every Halloween movie.
Yeah, it's Michael Myers, baby. But yeah, it should have just been anthologies. Like, this just goes to prove people don't know what the fuck they want, because they wanted more Mike Myers, they got it, and now everybody's, oh, this movie fucking was bad. These sequels suck. No shit. They already did what they could have done with the first one. Fuck off. But let's enough about that shit. Let's talk about this film, which is a good film. Let's talk about this film. So, we've got some computer intro credit sequence, and this is, you can see
like
every single pixel available with this new, like, 2K scan. But yeah, that part I had to, like, close my eyes because I was like, what the fuck? They show, like, a pumpkin and they're like, and I'm like, no thank you.
Did bugs and snakes start coming out of your face?
I was like, boom with the witches and dares are the ditches. Sadly not. So I already bitched about that, the anthology. Northern California, October, Saturday, the 23rd. Which was our last podcast. So that guy was running away while we were doing our Vampire Week. So we got a guy running away from a car, but for no reason he stops and looks back at it. This doesn't really change the outcome because he's being choked out and then fucking, like, a car, like, smashes the dude that was, like, trying to kill him.
Yeah, I love in this movie, and, like, it's an 80s staple, is, like, the bad guys are dudes in business suits. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many 80s movies where it's just, like, people getting chased by dudes in business suits. It's, like,
essentially, like, the Men in Black are after these people. So, on the radio you hear, or the TV, there was a theft at Stonehenge of a blah blah, you know, whatever, and it's like a stone. So somebody stole one of the stones. I wonder if that's going to come back in this film.
That's another thing that Ebert pointed out. He's like, what the hell does this have to do with Stonehenge? Somebody explain it to me.
It's like, you will find out much later in the film. 8 more days till Halloween. They're fun. They're frightening. And they glow in the dark. Except for the way he said it, he was like, they glue in the dark. I was like, okay. So there's a commercial that plays with, like, 10 times within the first... Yeah. The Silver Shamrock commercial has played 3 times in 11 minutes, and I was, like, cracking up.
It's so annoying. Like, and it happens so
it's
much.
Like...
It makes me turn into Tom Atkins, where I'm like, stop it! Stop it! Turn it off! Stop it!
You're like, 10 more days till Halloween. Holy shit. Oh, my God. Hey, kiddies. I'm like, is this guy like a predator? Cheap, ineffective jump scare. They're coming. Says the guy that was like, running. So Tom Atkins shows up with his head hidden, like when it's raining. He's like in his coat, like, "Hi, wife," and I'm like, "Arr." He's like a headless horseman, and he brought like these stupid masks when his wife bought like the cool Silver Shamrock. Those masks were like legit, especially for the time. Like,
they look quality.
Yeah,
and they've passed final inspection.
Yes. This Tom Atkins says he should have married the nurse Agnes and slaps her on the butt, but then she like slaps his butt back, and I'm like, okay.
Butt slapping was much more common back in the day.
Yeah. Well, it was also one of those things where like she slapped his butt too, so I was like, okay. I was like, you going the right way for a smack bottom, baby, and I don't care who knows it.
Pretty much, dude.
Yeah. So a guy comes into the room of the patient and just like turns his head into a prop mask. He's like, and the guy's like, and then like once he's dead, his arm's like, and I'm like,
well, that's one of the grossest kills I can think of, because like he inserts his fingers into his eyes,
and then he's like,
it's like one of those grabber machines where it's like,
the guy's nose is like, but then like when they show his face again, it's like just like a fake head.
Yeah.
Huh, he turned his fucking face into a prop. So like,
well, one thing, did you notice that? And Tom Atkins had the best office ever, because it had a nice couch for napping on the job, and a full size fridge.
Yeah,
like not just a mini fridge.
Yeah.
Like,
and he like takes out one thing and eats it. He's like, what is that?
Man, the 80s.
Yeah, but he catches up to the killer, and he's like, hey, and the guy like is like immolates himself, and he's like. Like the car instantly blows up. As
Cruel Jaws style.
Yeah,
where he's like, ah.
Yeah, but like as soon as he lights himself on fire, the car blows up.
Good comedic timing.
Yeah. So Sunday the 24th, daughter of the victim shows up and sees her father was turned into a prop, and she loses it. And that's pretty much the only scene in that time frame, because then it jumps to Wednesday the 27th.
Is that when Tom Atkins decides to like pursue her?
No, he's just watching. He's just watching, like, because he's in the room when she comes in, and he's just like, man, this isn't like any of my business. And then like the 27th, they cut to him at the bar. This is one of the in all of the in the whole, you know what I'm gonna say?
No.
Okay. So like in all of the things that happen in this movie, this is probably one of the most ridiculous, and that's saying a lot, because this movie has a lot of ridiculous stuff in it. So this scene completely baffles me, because he's like the only one in the bar, first of all, besides the bartender. Secondly, he's watching the TV like he's never seen a cartoon before, and he's like studying it like a cartographer would the walls of a cartouche in ancient Egypt. And then he eventually says, hey, can we get another station? And the dude says, yeah, no problem. And I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck were they watching that in the first place if like there were only 2 of them and neither one of them wanted to watch it?
Also, why is he getting drunk during the day instead of like being with his family, or like?
Yeah, but he's like, they're watching these cartoons, and then like in this universe, Halloween is a movie. Like the first movie like is a movie, because they turn to the channel and they're like, tune in to watch the horror-a-thon with the classic Halloween, and to get your big giveaway. And then, like, he's just like, what's this shit? I don't want to see this. Switch the channel again. And he's like, the guy like puts on some like accent he didn't have in the last part of the scene. He's like, "What's the matter? Don't you have any Halloween spirit?" And I'm like, never in my life have I heard someone ask if someone has Halloween spirit. Like, I've heard Christmas spirit or holiday spirit, but never Halloween spirit. Like, what the fuck?
So to you, that's crazier than a laser that shoots and generates bugs and snakes out of someone's face?
I see that pretty regularly. Papa really loved this place, and I was like, Mama, Papa.
Yeah, that was weird how she keeps calling him Papa.
But that's the only time. Like,
I thought that happened a few times because I was like, oh, Papa.
Yeah, Papa. Like, what is this, Germany or some shit? She's calling her
what
dad
is this, Peyton
Papa.
Manning when he calls Papa John Papa?
Dude, he's in the house though.
Papa's in the house! Call the cops!
Yeah, well, especially if you're black, 'cause he's a racist. Irish Halloween masks. That's un-American. They were like, that note is because he's like, Mr. Cochran and all these Irish people make these Halloween masks, Silver Shamrock, and he's like, Irish people making masks? Like, what does that have to do with Halloween? And I'm like, why does it matter what? Like, he's like, that is disgusting.
Because Tom Atkins is an alcoholic, adulterous, racist.
He's not racist. He's what's it
xenophobic.
called? Yes.
Yeah.
Because Irish people are from like another like planet. He's like, fucking Irish. He's like, get the flamethrower. McGrady's like, get the flamethrower. Fucking shit. So the whole town you see is monitored by cameras. Uh-oh. Why? So they arrive at this shitty hotel, and just a week later, there's a scene in this film, just like in From Dusk Till Dawn, where somebody almost gets run over by the main actors with an RV in a parking lot. A shitty hotel parking lot. Can you believe it?
That's the cool thing I like about this movie, because like he's like going on a vacation.
Yeah.
Like to a cool little like town.
To shag some birds. Yeah. It's like, okay. It's also questionable whether or not she's like of age, but she says she is, and it's like, okay. He's like, whoa, let's take our time. I could use a drink. I'm like, I think you about had enough.
I know. Been drinking the whole way there.
And then, what do you want? Where do you want to sleep, doctor? That's a dumb question. I'm like, and so it just began.
He's not messing around
right.
in this movie.
She was like essentially asking him to like have sex with her
because Tom Atkins, dude.
Because the way that like she was like, she's just like, where do you want to sleep? He's like, that's a stupid question. And it's like, well, this is the first time they have sex in this film. Which within the first day they have sex like 3 times, and by the 3rd time he's like, don't you get tired? She's like, no, and he's like, damn it, I'm too old for this shit. So it's 6 o'clock. Okay, it's 6 curfew. Please confine your activities to your own home. Thank you. Have a very pleasant evening. All read by Laurie Strode herself, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yep, nice cameo.
Yeah. Tom Atkins is brown bagging it on the streets of fucking whatever this town is, Silver Shamrockville, and
it's just funny that like he's drinking so much during this movie, and it's not really. It's just like it's just there.
Yeah,
there's no point to it.
He's not like so drunk that he's falling over. It's
right.
not. It's just like literally
just a dude that drinks all the time. And
he's like, I had a drink earlier, no big deal. I'm drinking in a bar, and then like the next scene, he went to a store, bought a whole bottle of something, and he's drinking it in a bag on the way back to the hotel. Like just walking back, and that's when he comes across this like random homeless dude that like that I guess he tried to get a job at the Cochran family, or not like, you know, like the worker, the plant, and he's like, no, and so he starts like shit talking him, and he's like, Cochran, fuck you, you know, he can hear us, he can hear everything you say, like this is the last Halloween for that factory, and he's like and he's like, Tom Atkins says, why is it the last, you know, like year for this? And he's like, I'm gonna get a case of Molotov cocktails and burn the factory down. And I'm like, okay, well that's like not really a rumor, that's like a threat. But he's like, why, what did you hear? And he's like, I didn't hear anything. I'm gonna burn the fucking place down. And then like,
Yeah.
the Men in Black show up and like crush his life.
Is that when they rip his head off, or they pull his head off his body?
They like rip his head off. When they do, it's like.
It's so funny because you have the one dude. There's two dudes.
Yeah.
And, like one dude grabs his head.
And the other guy,
it's like holding him.
Yeah.
But he's going like.
Yeah. He's like making it harder for the other guy to pull his head off. It always reminds me of that scene, and I think we've talked about this before, maybe we haven't, where in Ace Ventura 1, where he's like getting a blowjob from that lady, and he's like moving around like, whoa, and I'm like, dude, that would make it so much harder to get a blowjob. He's like, come on. He's like, how you like me now? She's like, thanks. Anyway.
Yes, we've talked about that before, like, many times over the past 30 years.
The funny thing is when I was a kid, I had no clue what was going on. But now as an adult, I can't get it out of my mind because it's like, that part was supposed to be essentially for kids because it was so wacky. But as an adult, I'm like, what the fuck?
I saw that movie in theaters with my whole family.
Oh my god. Did you understand what it was?
I did not understand that.
I didn't. I was like, what? I mean, I laughed because it was Jim Carrey, but anyway, blowjobconversation.com.
To go back to Atkins and the girl, I did look up their ages when they filmed this movie.
Right.
And he was 47 and she was 23. So
I mean, he
double her age.
He looks every bit.
Yeah. Like, that's an old 47.
Yeah. Also, like, I guess we'll get to it, but you see his ass in this film, and he's got, like, no ass, and he's, like, whiter than shit. What the hell lady gets done taking a shower and puts a towel around her for a second, and then she, like, wraps herself up in the whole blanket. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude,
You're gonna get the old bed
Yeah,
wet.
I was like, this is gross. I don't know about you, I just find that, like the idea of, like, the bed getting wet.
Yeah, who would ever do that?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a thing that's done.
Dude, this is the third time these characters have had sex in this movie, and I'm like, it's the first day they've been in this hotel, and I'm like, Jesus! And he's like, I'm your genetic jackhammer. So, the lady next door starts messing with the label that fell off the mask, and it triggers and her face gets turned into, like, an alien.
It shoots a laser.
Yeah, and she turns into, like, a fucking predator from, like, the Predator series. Like, her fucking face is, like, blown open, and then she's, like, dead, and, like, bugs are, like, coming out of her fucking body.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain the technology? The mask technology in this movie?
So, that's one thing they don't really talk, I mean, to a degree, but, like...
Yeah, that's for sure, because it's totally insane.
It's like, so my best guess is what they do is they take parts of the stolen Stonehenge rock.
Like dust?
Yeah, and they infuse it with this microchip that's on the back of the mask, and apparently somehow it has some occult, it's like occult mixed with, like, technology, which is an interesting thing, and it's pretty cool, but it's funny because they talk about everything else in this film, but that's one thing they never explicitly
but even that,
talk about.
Like the physics of how that would generate bugs and snakes. Like living creatures.
Like a laser that would, like... Well, maybe it's like the shit on Star Trek that, like, takes matter and repurposes it. So, like, the replicator. So maybe it's like a replicator, kind of like the holodeck, but it's somehow able to, like, turn into real matter.
Okay. I'll accept that.
Okay. Here's my note for Nice Tom Atkins' ass. Take away the body to the factory. And they're like, what happened? It's a misfire. It's like code for, well, what's supposed to go off?
A murder.
Yeah. She'll get all the help she needs, folks. In the autopsy for the guy that burned alive in the car, all they're finding is ashes and car parts. So.
And how many days are they digging through those ashes before they discover anything? Like 5 days or longer.
Not only that, but, like, literally they couldn't get anybody there to, like, put out the fire before the car itself turned straight to ashes. That would have fucking taken, like, forever to that fire to turn a car into straight ashes.
Also, a good thing they don't have any other, like, things to deal with, so they can just look at those ashes all day, every day.
They're like, they got stinky bodies piling up. So they go to the factory and through a bunch of different circumstances end up going on a tour, and it's pretty cool actually seeing them make masks in the movie to a degree. I assume that like the masks that were being made were actually probably sold at some point, like as like, you know, for because there's only a couple masks actually shown in this film, and there's a ton that you see. So I'm assuming the extra masks were probably, some of them were probably taken or repurposed, but I bet a lot of them were probably like sold as actual like, hey, Halloween 3 tie-in masks like that year. Which there's a lot of companies I think that like actually make those now, which we should have gotten those and put them on and died. So Cochran is the master of the practical joke. He has created sticky toilet paper, the dead dwarf gag, the soft chainsaw. I don't know why they didn't say like the prop chainsaw or like the soft chainsaw. That was
or the
kind
classic
of
dead dwarf.
the dead
Everyone knows that one.
Yeah. Tom Atkins says, "Let's call the Marines." There's a lot of times when he's fine with peacing out, but then for whatever reason she's like, "Actually, let's stay. I'm not leaving till I find out what happens." You find out why that is much later in the film. So Tom Atkins is on the run. He's doing the ultimate stealth mission. He's like unseen, or is he? He confronts Whistler's mother, knitting. That's obviously an automaton. And
So just when you thought this movie couldn't get any crazier, there's robots from the 1700s messing around.
Yeah, that was like something that like I guess like Cochran
like a steampunk robot
essentially collects all this stuff too, because like you see like earlier when like they take him through, like they take him on the tours, that like he has a bunch of toys that like he collects and also made from way back in the day of like older stuff, like, you know, that kind of shit.
Yep.
And that's one of the things he had back in the day, like was a knitting thing. So from Germany, from like he said like the 1800s, and I'm like, no fucking way that was made in the 1800s. Well, obviously, but so Tom punches a henchman and it does nothing, and he's horrified. Oh Jesus! Oh jeez!
Yeah, that was a hilarious reaction. It kind of reminded me of in Big Trouble in Little China when Jack Burton like lifts up the guy's head and punches him, and he has no reaction.
Yeah,
He's
just like the guy's like, and he's about to be killed when he punches the dude in the stomach and like kills him. And this is when you find out some stuff kind of comes out of him, and it's all like snotty looking. And they end up being robots.
Yep, all the henchmen are robots.
Yeah. And Tom Atkins is like super sweaty. He's like, it's like he just got done taking like a horrible poop.
Well, he's also been drinking for like he's on a bender.
And he's also been having sex.
Yeah.
Like he had sex 3 times
in a wet bed
in one day. In a wet bed. It's a wet bed. And it'll be morning, Halloween morning, a busy day for me, as he looks like right at the camera. And I was like, okay. So now it is Sunday the 31st, which is tomorrow, Halloween.
I'm glad they spelled it out.
Yeah, will you
in
be
the
handing out candy tomorrow on your neighborhood, or do kids come?
I'll be wearing my silver shamrock mask and sitting in front of the TV.
Nice. Will you be shitting? Bugs?
Next.
Damn it. So, he takes Tom Atkins into the secret area, and they took, like, a thing from Stonehenge that are using it in the mask, which we talked about earlier. They have, like, a demonstration.
There's guys that are, like, shaving off little pieces of this. It's a total, like, Bond.
Well, it's weird because,
layer.
Yeah, it's like, that set was awesome, though.
Yeah, it was cool.
Maybe, like, want to see more films that are kind of, like, I don't know, mysterious like that. So they have, like, a demonstration with the family from earlier, with the kid.
A truly disturbing scene.
Yes.
Like, it's messed up.
The way you said that, I thought you were kidding.
No.
A truly disturbing scene.
I'm dead serious.
I am
it's like
dead serious.
Horrific.
Why don't you tell the people what happens then?
Well, they pretty much watch a family get murdered.
Yeah.
But the kid dies first, and bugs and snakes emerge from his head.
It is true.
And the parents are like, and then the dude gets bit to death by a snake?
Yeah, rattlesnake comes out too. Like
Yeah.
a big rattlesnake comes out and bites the dad. And like
Which
the mom
you
just
see a real snake biting a real dude in the leg. It's like,
Yeah.
holy crap.
Also, I can't remember how the mom dies. She just like faints and she's dead or something.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I think she's just like, and they're just like,
Dies
we'll,
of
we'll
shock.
kill her later. So Tom Atkins is so horrified. He like is like, oh. He's like,
He faints.
yeah, he's like, because he's like a doctor. So when he sees like life being taken, he's like, oh. So now we have all of these cities where kids are trick-or-treating with these masks on.
Mm-hmm.
Dayton, Ohio. New York. Omaha, Nebraska. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Los Angeles, California. Seattle, Washington. Phoenix, Arizona, even though they all look like California. It's like...
It's amazing how England looks exactly like Southern California.
Looks nothing like...
But it's like a montage,
Yeah.
and there's one shot that is so cool because it's basically like the very end of sunset, and you just see the trick-or-treaters in like silhouettes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, there's something to this movie. It's not just a crazy crapshoot.
So the corner lady that's been helping Tom Atkins gets like drilled to death by like a Men in Black operative.
It's gross.
It's gross. So it's 7:30 p.m. and Tom Atkins is tied up. Do you know where your Tom Atkins is? So then we have the part of the movie that I guess Ebert fell asleep during,
Yeah.
or
He totally explains this.
he just didn't listen because he's
He's like, let me tell you why!
Yeah. So he essentially says, enjoy the horror-thon, Doctor, and don't forget to watch the big giveaway afterwards. And he says, why, Doc? Why, Cochran? Why? Do I need a reason? Mr. Kupfer was right, you know. I do love a good joke. This is the best joke ever. A joke on the children. But there's a better reason. You don't know much about Halloween. You thought no further than the strange custom of having your children wear masks and go out begging for candy. It was the start of the year in our old Celtic lands, and we'll be waiting in our houses of wattles and clay. The barriers would be down, you see, between the real and unreal, and the dead might be looking in to sit by our fires of turf. Halloween, the festival of Samhain. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago, when the hills ran red with the blood of animals and children. And then, like, the doctor says sacrifices. It was a part of our world, our craft. Witchcraft? To us, it was a way of controlling our environment. It's not so different now. It's time again. In the end, we don't decide these things, you know. The planets do. They're in alignment, and it's time again. The world's going to change, Doctor. Tonight, I'm glad you'll be able to watch it. And happy Halloween. So I don't know how much more clear it could have been.
Yeah.
This guy...
In fact, it's almost too clear.
Yeah, this man is part of, like... he's like a warlock. He's part of an ancient, you know, sect of people that would do sacrifices around in Stonehenge and stuff like that, and use the power to control stuff. They don't really go into detail, but it doesn't really matter. And earlier I said, you know, there was some stuff in this movie that's kind of out of control. You know, we're talking about like the lasers that shoot out and that one scene in the bar, but I kind of was wrong. That wasn't the most out of control anything in this film. This part's the most out of control part of a film. He takes the fucking mask off and throws it perfectly over the fucking camera from like 20 feet away.
That was a nice throw.
And it was like, bloop. So there's like, he like once again stealth missions it into a fucking air vent, and he's like crawling through the fucking shit. And he goes and frees the lady, and they grab a bunch of those buttons and start throwing them down on everybody, and they all blow up. And
It's a good way to dispatch all the henchmen.
yeah. And So essentially,
and Tom Atkins knows how to work all the computers to like activate them somehow.
Not only that, but he's so close. Like anybody could have seen him, but they didn't. Like he's essentially like sneaking up in the middle. He's like in the middle of everything, and everybody's back just seems to be turned to him when he's going.
He's like flipping all these switches and dials that he somehow knows how everything works.
So essentially, he throws these down, and it starts blowing people up because he sets the thing like a promo version of it off, like in their studio, and so it sets all these things off and blows everybody up. And Cochran's still alive because I guess he was far enough away. And so randomly, like, there's a circle that is created around these computers, like a blue laser circle, and it's like coincides with like Stonehenge, which like the rock starts glowing blue as well. And right before they fire a laser into like Cochran, he just like looks up and is like and like smiles and like is like, this is the greatest joke of all time. And fucking they both like blast him and he turns into like an Iceman. And yeah,
Mr. Freeze
looks fucking horrible. I wish I had a picture of it because he's just like it's like, that looks nothing like him. You get like crystallized. So apparently like they drive away, and while they're trying to drive away, like Ellie, which is like the first time I think we've seen it said her actual name, is because she was so memorable. She's a robot too, so she essentially oh shit, thanks for the resubscription, Protocaster Gaming. They've been subscribed for 16 months. Thank you.
Nice.
Just watch Halloween Kills. Hopefully you guys are having a good night. Well, we're talking about Halloween 3, so
yeah.
Better. So she's essentially like a robot, and she like starts attacking him. And
sadly, we knew it all.
Yeah, that's what I have here. Ellie was a fembot. Sadly, we knew all along, Austin.
Like, huh?
Yeah, so she was a robot the whole time, and I guess actually I never thought about it till just now, but like you might have, and I'm sure other people did after watching this
so
film.
Stupid.
But like the thing that I guess kind of it's like
it's nonsense.
It's a twist. It's like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, you know why no one saw it coming? Because why would you make a female robot that would entice a random guy to come investigate the shit you were doing for the chance that you would get your shit ruined? Because that's essentially what happens in this film. He stops
Just don't think about it too much.
So yeah, that's bullshit, dude. This movie sucks now. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's what happens. She was essentially like a robot the whole time and fucked him 3 times randomly. So I would talk about that part more, but we've got more pressing matters, because he gets to a gas station and this shit goes down. This is probably like the most out of control part of this entire film. Not really, but it's pretty memorable. So he's on the phone. He like runs up to like the same guy, I guess, that like the one dude ran up to earlier, like the gas station attendant. He's like, I gotta use your phone. And he's on the line talking to the Silver Shamrock, like, or like the TV networks, and the commercial begins, and he's like, if it goes on, it means the death of millions of people. Everyone watching, don't you understand that? Well, say it's a bomb then. Say whatever you want. Just get it off the air, please. You just... No, I can't prove it. You just gotta believe me. Believe me. Take it off now, please. You've got it. And then, like, the announcer starts, and it's like, please excuse the interruption. We've been having technical problems. Please stand by. Then they change the channel, and he's like, we're experiencing technical problems. So, like, then the kid changes it again, and it's, like, still on. He's like, the third channel. It's still on, please. Take off the third channel. The third channel, it's still running. Stop it. Please, for God's sakes. Please stop it. There's no more time. Please, stop it. Stop it now. Turn it off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it! And he turns into a robot. It's like... Whoa. So, essentially, in the end of this movie, it's like, you're led to believe that, like, it still happens.
Yeah, all the kids get killed.
Yeah.
But that's like Tom Atkins, what he should have won an Oscar for.
Yeah.
It's like so good.
Stop it! Stop it!
Stop it! Stop
Yeah.
it! Stop it!
Yeah.
Because Panic is
So,
awesome.
regardless of all the out of control things that happen in this film, like the fembot thing not making any sense, it's like
That's
it's-
the one thing that didn't make any sense.
well, that's the one thing that made zero sense. Haha. I have to give this movie a 4.5 out of 5.
Nice. I'd probably go 5. Like, I can't think of many more. Like, every time I see this, I just can't
Yeah.
believe how insane it is. And, like, highly
Yeah.
entertaining.
I won't give it a perfect score because I just don't hand out perfect scores, Matt. How dare you have an opinion?
It's a pretty special movie.
It is a special movie, but I don't know. I guess now that I'm trying to think of like things that I didn't really like about it, but
There's a lot to like.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's not much that you could complain. I mean, I guess if you were a huge Mike Myers fan, you could say this movie sucked, but you know,
Well, that would be an invalid criticism
Right.
because it has nothing to, like, I don't accept that criticism.
well, that's because you're not a Mike Myers fan.
I'm a Mike Myers fan.
No, you're not.
Still waiting for Austin Powers 4.
You hate Mike Myers. You told me last night. You were like, "Hey, little Mike, fuck Mike Myers," and I was like, "Ooh." But no, like, yeah, like as far as like as a movie on itself, like this is so weird because this is called Halloween 3, but essentially this has nothing to do with the Halloween franchise, but it has everything to do with Halloween and witches. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I give this movie 4.5, but I do not award it the rank of master.
All right.
But it has a seat on the council.
All right. You were right about one thing.
I will kill these younglings. Maybe Anakin was the real Cochrane. He should have put fucking little things on their lightsabers. They get turned into bugs.
I think Sebulba was a witch.
He entranced me. Or what was it?
He bewitched
The intoxicating smell of the dry oaks. So do you have anything else to say about Halloween Kills or Halloween 3, really?
I think we nailed it. Put this baby to bed.
What do you think's next for Halloween franchise, Matt? What do you think's going to happen in Ends? Do you think they're actually going to kill Mike Myers?
Probably another disappointing sequel.
Yeah. How about you make a prediction? Do you think they're going to kill Mike Myers in Halloween Ends or no?
I'll say no.
Yeah. I don't think so either, yeah.
Evil never dies.
Yeah. And even if they do, they'll do exactly what they did with Halloween 2. They'll just say, "Oh, he got out." Just like Loomis somehow escaped a fucking nuclear bomb. But yeah. I don't really have high hopes, but I'll watch it anyway, I guess. Because I'm sure we'll talk about it next year for the podcast. So, until next time, everybody.
See you next year.
Yeah, see you next year for Halloween Ends. But we'll see you next week for the next movie, which I'm not going to let the Halloween season end just yet, man.
Uh-oh.
Because next week, we're going to watch Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Nice.
And we're going to talk about it on this here podcast. So,
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I have never seen this.
What?
No, I have
Oh,
not.
dude.
I just bought the collection
You're
from
gonna
Shout
love it.
Factory that has all of their films.
Nice.
So, I've heard it's awesome, and I've seen clips from it before, but I've never sat down and watched it before.
Nice.
So, I guess until next time,
See you then.
yeah, have a buddy good time.
Bye.
Bye.